But, then you've got people on the other side saying, well, but experts disagree, which is a kind of typical merchants of doubt tactic. And the same will be said for nicotine benefits in Tourette syndrome, ADHD, autism, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, et cetera, et cetera. In fact, a lot of research is looking at cross-sectional studies that find associations and trying to claim that nicotine causes those things.
They want to
when all logic says that people with those things are using nicotine because it helps them, but so we're going to face that. But I mean, one of the ways to deal with this is to get people to tell their personal stories. I should be the last one to ask anyone to do that. Why? Because an adult living with ADHD is already stigmatized.
Who taught you how to do this stuff?
You, all right? I learned it by watching you.
Well, hello, and welcome to the show. Kevin just texted me. He's not coming. He's not coming because one of his kids has an abscessed tooth, and he's got to take him to the dentist. A late night dental emergency thing. So I told him, I said, just get some pliers and come on, hurry up. But he's not here. And then Tom cryptically posted that he was doing a skip, but I see that he's actually here live. So I was gonna punish Tom for also skipping out on us. But we will do our damnedest to continue to be assholes on YouTube and Facebook and the Twitters and doing our thing. And if Kevin decides to abandon his kid at the dentist with an abscessed tooth, he might show up too. You never know. I might sucker one of these fine people in the chat room if people show up, and I might sucker one of them to get on cam and hang out with me and read articles with me and stuff. But it shit happens. So anyway, I could be sitting here watching The Expanse. I started rewatching The Expanse last night from season 1, and I came home from work and sat here at the computer and set up the show, and I was watching these. I actually left The Expanse to come here and be with you people. So you should also sacrifice. You should also make some sort of sacrifice. I'm not saying a blood sacrifice. I'm not saying anything like that. I see that Bastard showed up. He says, greetings and salutations, fellow assholes. Yes, we are all assholes. And Raj is here, and I already told you that Tom is here. There's people here. Well, his kid is an adult, but yeah, I hope he's okay, I just like to give him shit. But there's two kids. There's the pothead and the other one. I don't know which one it is, whether it's the pothead or the other one. So yeah, let's all send well wishes to Kevin's kid, either the pothead or the other one, that their abscessed tooth gets fixed. I told him just get some pliers, man. Just pliers. Done. That will relieve the pressure. He'll spit some gunk, put some antibiotic stuff on it, and it'll be fine. Just muscle through. Michael Redfern just showed up too. Hello, Michael Redfern. So I guess we'll start with Twitter hijinks. We'll start with some Twitter hijinks today. I noticed a tweet. Well, about 10 hours ago, I noticed a tweet, and it kind of got me mad. And I don't know who this guy is, but anyway, let me throw it up here on screen because my head is way too big, and I need to put something else on the screen so that you're not looking at my giant ugly face. Hey, Victor. Victor is here too. Hello, Victor. I got to hit the right share button. See, this always happens. This always happens. It doesn't always happen. But anyway, here is this guy, Harry Shapiro. Harry Shapiro, and I don't even know why it showed up on my wall, because I don't follow this guy, and nobody had commented, or at least I didn't see any comments. It says 11 hours ago I replied. But anyway, this guy Harry Shapiro, we're gonna do a deep dive on this Harry Shapiro guy while we're sitting here, because it says if you take the nicotine out of the cigarette, you take the harm out of the habit. Simple, really. And I don't know if he meant to put some punctuation there, but simple, really, he says. So I said, except all of the carcinogens, the TAR, the tar, and harmful stuff is still there. These cigarettes are so mild and smooth that people will simply smoke more and inhale more of them, meaning the toxins and the carcinogens. The nicotine is the least harmful byproduct of smoking. I see Chugga is here as well. Hello, Chugga. So after I responded 11 hours ago, then Raj, who's in the chat room, he also replied 2 hours ago. The harm isn't the nicotine, it's burning, combustion, smoke, tar, and the carcinogens that's involved with cigarettes. So if you take the burning, combustion, tar, carcinogen, smoke out of the picture so that the only thing left is nicotine, well, now you're left with a benign product. Then Shane Dog, Winnipeg. He is a vaping advocate. It says here, former 25-year smoker who quit by switching to vaping 10 years ago. Son of a mother who died of smoking-related lung cancer 4 years ago. So, FUQ. I'm assuming that means fuck you. But anyway, face it, Harry. You got owned. Lesson 1. Don't comment on. And this was 3 hours ago, by the way. So they're not in. I don't know why Twitter doesn't show these in chronological order. It makes more sense to me that this would be chronologically ordered so that people could understand the order of comments. And if I'm replying to, if I'm referencing something that was said above or below or whatever, it makes sense. But this doesn't make any sense. So anyway, multiple people must have owned him. Lesson 1, don't comment on topics you don't know anything about. Lesson 2, don't fuck with former smokers who quit by switching to vaping. We are living, breathing, real examples of how vaping saves lives. Trust us, we've done our research on nicotine. So I do want to say that Harry didn't say anything negative about vaping. He just said something positive about something that he doesn't understand. And I don't know if it's because he's not a smoker. I don't know. He could be a smoker and misinformed or brainwashed. So anyway, let's scroll down. Juka, who is one of our very good Twitter friends, highly intelligent young man, says, Harry is a great tobacco harm reduction advocate who knows his stuff, which, and Go Beep is in the chat room, says, yes, Harry is very pro-vaping, which confused the F out of me, guys. So I actually replied or over-tweeted, as Kevin said, or quote-tweeted this guy because I didn't understand. I said, wondering if Harry Shapiro, who has had some on-point tweets in the tobacco harm reduction world, left his phone open and a Mike Bloomberg flunky or a 22nd century shill sent a tweet when he wasn't looking, because only a paid liar would tweet this if it's not satire. So I'm wondering if he was being satirical. It was not clear. And sometimes we, as vaping advocates, we jump on shit and we don't, because I actually did go to Harry Shapiro's profile, which leads me to believe that he's not a dummy, because he's the director of DrugWise and he's working in tobacco harm reduction. He's an author, a journalist, public speaker, lecturer. I don't know if music biographers is important for this conversation, but hey, he's a music biographer as well. So there is that, which led me to believe that maybe this was not what we thought it was. So I scrolled down, you read some of his stuff, and this is his most recent tweet. It has 14 replies. It's been retweeted twice. One of those was me. And then he's got, he's got some stuff in here, which it leads me to believe that yes, he's one of us, but maybe he should have possibly put some snark in his tweet, some sort of indication to let us know. Because if he'd have just sent, say, if you take the nicotine out of the cigarette, you take the harm out of the habit, simple, really, and then put a smiley face laughing, maybe that would have let us know that he was sarcastic here. But I do, because all of us, I didn't say anything rude on my reply to his tweet. I didn't use bad language, and not a lot of people did, but some people did talk down to him and attacked him. And that's the American way. That's what we do because we're assholes. I said that earlier. I'm going to keep saying asshole tonight, by the way. So I'm worried that maybe we attacked when we shouldn't have. But again, Harry didn't really lead with what we needed to know. So yeah, I scrolled down some more and he's talking about, there's a couple tweets about flavors. I hate the, here's one. This is a funny rat vaping story. In a new shock study funded by the Campaign for Totally Fake Knowledge. I do kind of like that, Camp CTFK. Parmesan flavor has resulted in a vaping epidemic among teen mice. I started out on cheddar, said one mouse, and then it was downhill all the way. So I have a feeling that, again, he's one of us. Harry says, this is both staggering but not shocking. U.S. politicians who oppose vaping while holding tobacco company stock. The more anti-vaping laws pass, the more money they make as tobacco shares rise in value. Hypocrisy. And he's retweeting AVM. So this is what I'm saying. I think maybe this was a friendly fire incident. That maybe we need to, and it's his fault really, because he didn't let us know that he was being sarcastic. And sometimes when using only words, like I can say something and make a face while I'm saying it to you on the air, that would let you know that I'm being facetious or sarcastic. That just typing stuff in the Twitters, if you don't put some, emojis or some sort of indication that it is snark, we may not catch it. Especially if we don't know him, and we don't know that guy. I'm sure I saw earlier that a new face in the crowd indicated to me that he was indeed one of us pro-vaping people, and I've already forgotten because it's not a Go Beep. Go Beep said that. So yeah, he says that Harry Shapiro is very pro-vaping. So yeah, I don't know who Go Beep is. He may be an old friend with a new name. I don't know. And Chugga just throws in here, Harry is very well known in the tobacco harm reduction academic circles, but he is not well known in the tobacco harm reduction asshole circles. And that's us. We are the tobacco harm reduction assholes. But I would have to think if he's that well known, Juka would have known him, because Juka is very smart. Oh, that's right. Juka did tell us. See, I was right. Juka is very smart. We're not. But anyway, like I said, Kevin is not here, and we're just going to keep going because I don't. It's either this or The Expanse, and Bastard said that he was kind of torn because I mentioned The Expanse. He might be watching The Expanse right now, and I'm here talking to you. Yeah. And yes, Yolanda is correct. Assholes are a special case, and I am very special. I am very special in my own mind. But yeah, let's go to the articles. Let's see what I have lined up to talk to you people about tonight. Oh well, here, let's go to the Lancet. Let's just go to the Lancet. That's a very reputable medical journal. It's one of those very top places to get information in the medical world. They publish tons and tons and tons of studies and lots of science. So let's see. I bet you $10 because I just glanced at this and I realized it's not science-based because it says editorial right there. Very small print. And I've blown this up 175%. So if this was down here at 100%, hey, let's go over here. Let's go down to 100%. So at 100%, which is the size that it would read on a thing, see the word editorial there? It is very small. Very small. So in the world of size does matter. You should put that bigger so people understand that what you're saying here is this is an opinion, not science, not research. So it says here, vaping in adolescents and young adults, it's time to act. Yes, it's time to act now. So on June 22nd or 23rd of 2022, the US FDA denied Juul Labs marketing approval for all Juul products that are marketed in the United States. Juul is an electronic nicotine delivery system ENDS that has higher nicotine content than many other devices and has therefore become a public health target for healthcare professionals and others who are concerned about people becoming addicted to nicotine and the use of ENDS as a gateway to smoking, which they have never proven. They've cited it. They've said, we believe it exists, but they have never been able to see it. They've never been able to prove it. They've never been able to show it. Yet, they keep using it as justification for lying to people. Now, to be clear, Juul is not the highest nicotine content available on the market, by the way. Just to be sure, it is not. It is high, but there are plenty of other pre-filled nicotine salt devices out there that are at the same level or higher than Juul. And I'm not here to defend Juul because I don't like them. It doesn't work for me, but they did work for lots of other people. And anything that is not smoking a cigarette, any other way to get your nicotine is better than smoking a cigarette. So, at this stage, Juul is not the biggest horrible boogeyman on the market. And I have an article later that discusses just this topic, that Juul is not the product of choice for young youth and young adult Americans anymore. So anyway, a day after the FDA announcement, the FDA issued a temporary stay of the order after an application by the company through the U.S. Court of Appeals. This was followed by the administrative stay on July 5th of 2022, as the FDA determined that there were scientific issues unique to the Juul application that warranted additional review. Like they actually did include the science that you said was not in their application. It was in their application, and their denial letter said you didn't send us this very important science, so we're not going to approve your application. And they're like, dude, it's in there. Here's a letter from our lawyers. So yeah, F you, and actually process our application. So anyway, the stay was met with dismay within the healthcare community and calls into question the FDA's commitment to tackling the vaping epidemic. Yes, the epidemic. See, I think after several years of a pandemic, I think they would actually learn what that word means, because a decrease in youth smoking over the last 5 years would be an indication that there is no such thing as a vaping epidemic, especially when looking at youth numbers. But yeah, no. They're gonna ride that fucking word. They're gonna scare the hell out of parents. They're gonna scare the hell out of educators. They're going to demonize and attack for no reason, with no justification. A few weeks later, a key FDA tobacco scientist left to join Philip Morris, a major tobacco manufacturer who also sells e-cigarettes, heated tobacco, and oral nicotine products. It is surprising that Juul Labs was quick to oppose the FDA decision, given the known effectiveness of denying market approval to tobacco-based products, such as traditional cigarettes, and reduced smoking prevalence. Did you? Let's reread that. It is unsurprising that Juul Labs was quick to oppose the FDA decision, given the known effectiveness of denying marketing approval for tobacco-based products, such as traditional cigarettes, in reducing smoking prevalence. So they're saying that denying marketing orders to new products is successful at reducing smoking prevalence. Do they not understand that there's already several hundred brands of cigarettes on the market? Do you think that reducing new products is going to prevent people from smoking? There are plenty of other cigarettes. That's not denying an application for a new product is not going to lower cigarette smoking. I mean, does that make any sense to you? That is the stupid. I mean, that is quite simply not true. I mean, there's not going to be a new Marlboro out there, so I guess I'll just smoke the currently available 5 or 10 varieties of Marlboro that are already out there. This is stupid. So, and this is in the Lancet, people. This obviously is not fact-based. The initial marketing denial order issued by the FDA referred to the Juul device and the 4 types of pods, 3% and 5%. So that's 30 milligram and 50 milligram. Nicotine, Virginia. 3 and 5% nicotine, Virginia tobacco flavored pods, and the 3 and 5% menthol flavored pods. The menthol flavor, together with many sweet flavors such as gummy bear, vanilla, and custard, all flavors commonly used by NSMAT, have been criticized as being especially attractive to adolescents and young adults. Now, I'm quite positive that Juul never had a gummy bear flavored. And they're talking about Juul in this, but they're conflating Juul with, pretty spectacularly bad. I mean, there should be a rule. There should be a rule here. I think if you're writing a piece about a specific topic, you should stick to that topic and not try to conflate. But they're conflating. Hello, I just saw that my very good friend Mark Sliss is here. And David Lloyd just showed up. Hello, guys. I'm reading an article from the very prestigious medical journal, The Lancet. You're going to have to put up with me by myself tonight because Kevin decided that his kid's abscessed tooth was way more important than us. I don't get it, but I guess he likes his kid. Well, sometimes I don't know that he does like his kids. But anyway, hello. I should actually make Mark put his headphones on and get in here. But he's going to say no. He's going to say no. But the offer is there, by the way. Anyway, because I have some articles already lined up that will piss you off, Mark. So anyway, we could just put Bernie on cam and I'll talk to Bernie. Yeah. But furthermore, the U.S. FDA or the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention indicates on their website that approximately 2/3 of Juul users aged 15 to 24 do not know that the devices contain nicotine, which can affect adolescent brain development with harms continuing into early adulthood. Those who use e-cigarettes are also more likely to start smoking traditional cigarettes than non-end users. Again, that is a lie. That is a lie. That is a lie. Mark says, I might in a few. I have to take care of Bernie. She's sick and her meds are kicking her ass. I apologize to poor Bernie. But yes, if you want to come in later, you can come on. Just let me know. I'll send you a link. Joe Chugga, it says that if I disappear, the power's gone out, but still love you and blah, blah, blah. Yep, throw Mark on the show, Victor says. So I believe that Mark will have to be twisted and forced to come in here. Again, there's a whole bunch of lies there. This has got to be based on like some really, really, really old surveys because kids are not getting Juul anymore. Kids are getting candy bar or whatever the blank bar, the 15 or 20 different BAR products that are out there in the market right now. They're getting the ones that say 1,000 puffs and they light up and play disco music when you vape on them. And I'm not exaggerating. If there is not a vape, I know they have vapes that light up. But if they don't have one that plays music, I guarantee you that there will be in the next 5 minutes, because China has just heard me say a vape that lights up and plays disco music. I guarantee you they will make one in the next 5 minutes. Other detrimental health effects of ENDS include cardiopulmonary effects are known or suspected. See what they do? They are known or, so they cover their ass by throwing in or suspected. Despite contrary claims by the industry in 2019, an e-cigarette or vaping products use associated lung injury evaluation was noted in e-cigarette users with close to 3,000 cases. Many cases were thought to be associated with THC-containing products and vitamin E acetate. More recently, Harari and colleagues reported in the New England Journal of Medicine evidence a series of 4 patients with chronic lung disease with e-cigarette use. The patients had been 3 and 8 year history of use and reported chest pain and breathlessness. Using imaging techniques, including high-resolution chest CT, the authors observed small airway-centered fibrosis, including constrictive bronchiolitis, and speculated, there it is right there, speculated that given the timing of symptoms, this pattern was most likely due to e-cigarette use. Interestingly, in patients who stopped vaping, there was a partial reversal of disease. So up here, what was it? Suspected, speculated. Yeah. This is not science, boys and girls. This is guessing. They're even using words. I bet you $10 if I put speculated into the source like I did last week, it would say guess. That given to the COVID-19 has already left large populations with post-acute lung sequelae in a personal review published in the Lancet of Respiratory Medicine on the links between tobacco product use and risks of SARS-CoV infection and COVID-19. Neil Benowitz and colleagues note a 5 times increased likelihood of COVID-19 in adolescent and young adult users of e-cigarettes. This figure rose to nearly 7 times likelihood in those who were also using traditional cigarettes. Clear evidence of the role of cigarette smoking in increasing COVID-19 severity and poor outcomes is also presented by Benowitz and colleagues. We all know Benowitz. As discussed by Jonathan Grigg in a linked comment, the nicotine hypothesis that proposes a protective effect of nicotine against COVID-B2, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, is based on weak and conflicting evidence and has been misused by those with vested interest in the sale of tobacco products. He emphasizes that ENDS should not be used to reduce COVID-19 risk. Well, no. Nobody is saying, now there were people that said, I'm not scared of COVID because I vape or whatever. That's bullshit. But nobody is saying, instead of getting vaccinated and instead of wearing a mask, I'm going to vape. That is the stupidest thing ever. Anyway. Who in here wants me to continue to read this load of horse shit? Because there's still... Oh, I'm almost done. Might as well finish. I'm only a paragraph and a half away. He emphasizes that ENDS should not be used to reduce COVID-19 risk and, in line with Respiratory Society recommendations, should not be used for smoking cessation. I disagree. I disagree. The latest CDC statistics show that e-cigarette use in young people is already at alarming levels in 2021. 11.3% of high school students, about 1 in 9, used e-cigarettes. The figure was 2.8%, 1 in 35 for middle school. So they're saying 11.3% of high school students. Do I actually need to? I will go over here to Google again. How many U.S. high school students? So 15.1 million. 15.1 million. Oh my gosh! Let me get my calculator out, because these numbers are. This is tobacco control math. So calculator. Let me hit this button. 15.1. No, I don't want to do that. Let's do 151000000. All right. Times, what was that percentage again? 11.3%. So that's 0.113. So they're saying nearly 2 million high school students. That's not counting the 2.8% of middle schools. So they're saying that 2 million high school students in the United States are vaping. Yeah. That means that there's like 4 million bad parents. I'm just, some of those are single parent homes, but 4 million bad parents that don't know that there are 2 million kids are vaping. Oh, dear Lord. Oh, dear Lord. Boys and girls, please, please, please save yourself from bad science. So that whole article was saying that everything is to be blamed on Juul and their very, very high nicotine level, the most highest nicotine level ever. I gotta do some blocking here. Okay. So I'm sorry, David. Michael, I didn't even know you were gone. I wonder, David, C19, rampant in my town, Scotty's BFF mom, and vape, and both cover 3. Okay. So anyway, let's share this next piece. This next piece is this refutes the Juul epidemic hypothesis. So it says, after Juul e-cigarettes, Americans rally behind candy-flavored disposable e-cigs. And look at the plethora in this picture, the large amount of product that are available in flavor. Look, I don't know any of this because I can't really see, but I see that there's some bars. There's some bars in there. Anyway. They're saying since 2016, the U.S. FDA has sought to crack down on fruity, sweet-flavored e-cigarettes that hook teenagers on nicotine. That hook. Let's read more. But at least 20 brands continue to sell China-made disposable devices with kid-friendly flavors such as peach blueberry candy or pineapple straw nana. At liquor stores, smoke shops, and convenience stores in the United States, Reuters have found a plethora. I do like plethora. Flavored disposable vaping devices account for 1/3 of U.S. e-cigarettes. Yes, let me know, Mark. Anyway, you made me lose my spot. 1/3 of U.S. e-cigarette sales, up from less than 2% 3 years ago, according to a Reuters review of retail sales data. Well, it's because none of these products were available 2 years ago. That's why the numbers changed. Their surge raises questions about the Public Health Agency's failure to rein in the booming flavored e-cigarette market and its ability to enforce its own rules, some critics say. Disposable devices and their growing popularity. Findings by Reuters are drawn from a data set produced by IRI, a Chicago market research firm that uses scanner data and other information to track retail purchases. The IRI data set, which measures purchases from January 12th of 2014 and June 12th of 2022, provides a rare look at the rise of disposable flavored nicotine devices following the FDA's crackdown on Juul Labs, 35% owned by Marlboro maker Altria. Now, does anybody in here know when most of these products hit the market? I don't think anybody probably does because we can't read the labels, but I guarantee you it's in the last year, the last 2 years. So, of course, if they were selling none of these products in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and they entered the market in 2020, of course, there's going to be a huge increase in the sales of these products because they weren't out. They weren't out. So, of course, there's going to be a huge increase in the sale of these products that were not available until this year. Holy shit. I mean, I should be a scientist. I should work for Reuters. I could make this stuff up just as good as them. The data shows for the first time that consumers spent more than $2 billion on the new generation of disposable e-cigarettes over the last year, surpassing Juul's once leading market share by about 3% since March. The data was shared with Reuters by an individual outside of IRI who declined to be identified. Well, yeah, IRI data being shared with them by somebody that's not from IRI. Yeah, of course they're not going to identify themselves because they stole the data. This is industrial espionage is what that is. I stole the data from IRI, so I can't be quoted in your article. So an IRI spokesman said the company is unable to confirm any of the information you've received from an outside source and that the figures should not be attributed to IRI. According to a 2019 IRI press release, IRI measured purchases at retailers, including more than 30,000 convenience stores. So, a company that collects data, purchasing data for convenience stores, 30,000, when there's somewhere around 180,000 convenience stores in the United States, this is a very small segment of convenience stores. Not even half. Very small percentage. But their data gets stolen and disseminated. Of course, they're not going to comply or they're not going to confirm it. And they're going to say, don't attribute this data to us. But they still did it anyway. You see what I'm saying? This is underhanded and dirty is what this is. The FDA said in written responses to questions that it is deeply committed to addressing the ongoing public health concerns around youth e-cigarette use and is constantly monitoring the changing marketplace. Now, we already have a quote from a FDA person at the e-cig summit thingy that was in Washington, D.C. a while back, where they said, we're spending all of our marketing budget, all of our public PSA money, public service announcement money on abstinence only or don't do it messaging instead of saying, you know what, we need to educate you on these products. We need to make sure that you're informed about these products and that you shouldn't use them. But we don't want to give you that information because we're afraid if we tell you that they're safer than smoking, that's what essentially the woman said. We're putting all of our efforts into abstinence only, don't do it projects instead of saying, here's the truth. And she said, if they ask us a direct question on social media or behind the scenes where nobody can see it, we'll tell them the truth. But yeah, maybe Homicidal says maybe the FDA will be the next agency to get 87,000 armed staff. For those of you that don't know, apparently Joe Biden just hired 87,000 new IRS agents and that they will be armed. So don't forget to cross all of your T's and dot all of your I's on your tax paper, or an armed IRS agent might come to, air quote, audit you. I can tell you if they come to Texas, they better be armed. Anyway, the ban on Juul. The FDA in January 2020 banned all flavored flavors except for tobacco and menthol in Juul and other cartridge-based e-cigarettes. In June, it sought to ban the sale of all Juul e-cigarettes. The agency has since put its order on hold, saying there are scientific issues unique to the Juul application that warrant additional review. That has a lot to do with the fact that Juul has, an army of attorneys, and they had everybody's like on Twitter, blah, 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 what's going to happen, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, nothing's going to happen because they already have their briefs written and ready to go. And guess what? They did. They filed their briefs with the courts the next day. The judge ruled that day, and FDA got told, you can't do this. So anyway, Juul referred Reuters to previous statements saying it wants no underage consumers to use its products and that it looks forward to re-engaging with the FDA while the ban is on hold. And of course, Juul doesn't sell product directly to consumers anymore. They don't sell product on their website anymore. They're not responsible for how their products get into kids' hands because those products are sold in C-stores, in tobacco stores, not vape shops, not by Juul, except at a handful of Juul stores. And I don't even know if any of them are still around. They used to have. But I don't think in any way, shape, or form Juul is responsible for this because they don't disseminate, they don't distribute product directly to consumers. So it's the point of sale should be the one that gets punished. It's not the manufacturer of the product, it's the company that sold the product to the people, to the kids, or to the straw purchasers, the legal people that go and buy bulk and then sell them to kids at $5, profit for each pod or whatever. All right, let's see. Sweet flavored disposable e-cigarettes began flooding the market in 2020, trying to capitalize on the former popularity of Juul's cartridge-based devices. Both varieties vaporize a liquid that contains nicotine, an addictive chemical that gives smokers a rush. Really? Are we fighting that battle again? A rush? Does anybody get a rush? I mean, if you vape too much or if you smoke too much, you get a nicotine. That's not really a rush. I get sort of nauseated if you get nicked out or over-nicked. I don't recall a head rush. Both contain roughly equal concentrations of nicotine. So then, oh, look, here's a little chart. This shows Juul. Woo, and then right here is where the ban happens, or the FDA says you can't have flavors anymore. And then, ooh, and then over here, these are pre-filled disposable vapes. They're blah, 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 blah. They get to the same thing and whoop, blast off. I've never done crack, Michael Redfern, so I don't know if it gives you a rush. I'm sure there's probably some people in the chat room that could probably confirm that because that's never been my drug of choice. I've already said on the show many times, pot never did shit for me. It never did stuff for me. Just get better fitting jeans, crack solved. Ha. Disposable devices, which are pre-filled and priced at $15 to $25, can give 5 to 20 times the amount of liquid as a Juul cartridge based on visits Reuters made to 9 retailers selling both. Some products advertise that a user can make thousands of puffs, see, I told you, on a single device, and they light up. So all they need to do now is add like a little music thing in there, and then you've got your light up device that plays disco music. Anyway, in contrast to Juul price at roughly $10 requires to add separate cartridges or pods of nicotine. You know, this is the word that I always like when I see laced. When you see laced in any context, this is other than, you know, having your shoes laced up. But this is always a negative thing. Oh, that cocaine was laced with insecticide and it killed people, or, you know, laced has a negative connotation when people use it. So now they're conflating it, because a lot of times your drugs are laced with something. Your PCP, my cocaine was laced with PCP, or, you know, something like that. Yeah. Priced at $10 to $25 for a 4-pack. Millions. Oh, Kang Vape. I wonder, is that Kanger? Does anybody know? Did Kanger change their name to Kang Vape? Anyway, millions spend weekly on top sellers. Millions spend weekly. Okay. 3 brands. Kang Vape, one with an extra e-stick, Esco Bars, and Breeze Smoke Breeze Pro rang up weekly sales of more than $3 million apiece as of June 12th, according to the data. Representatives of Escobar and Breeze Escobar. You know, there's a guy named Pablo Escobar. Like, he's a drug cartel guy, right? I wonder, does he own Escobars? Somebody find out. Pablo Escobar, does he own Escobars? Because there's another cartel drug reference right there. Boom. And I'm, you know, this is writing itself. And their products contain synthetic nicotine, a version of the addictive drug that is not derived from tobacco plants and was not under FDA's jurisdiction until Congress acted earlier this year. Both companies told Reuters that they applied for FDA authorization in 2022. So if you applied in 2022, you're legally not allowed. You're legally not allowed to sell your product until it's been granted marketing orders. So you've just admitted to breaking the law, because 8/8/2016 was the deadline. So two of the 3 most popular products that are on the market are currently admitting that they're illegally selling their products. I don't know where Pablo Escobar is, whether he's dead or he's in prison, but y'all can find out. Y'all can Google it while I'm reading this nonsense. You know, I'm already this deep in. I have to finish it now. The FDA declined to disclose the names of synthetic nicotine products that have applied. Daryl Suruf, CEO of Pastel Cartel, the U.S. company that makes Escobars. Oh, see, there's the answer right there. It's not Pablo. Said it spent nearly $3 million preparing applications to the FDA. Firms like his that try to follow the rules should not be penalized. Well, you're not following the rules because you brought a product to market after 8/8/16 without marketing orders. So you're making the rest of the companies that did follow the rules look like shit because they didn't break the rules. According to Tom, who just Googled it, Pablo Escobar has been dead since 1993. He could have pulled an Elvis, though. He could have pulled an Elvis. Anyway, there's a lot of bad players in the industry. We're not one of them. Well, you just lied. And the next person on the list, we know. He used to be our primary sponsor, and he's been on the show. Yeah. So John Glosser, Chief Strategy Officer for Hyde in Buffalo, New York, another disposable brand with synthetic nicotine and sales of nearly $30 million per week, said he understands critics' concerns that sweet flavored e-cigarettes appeal to kids, potentially addicting them, but adults really do like flavors, he said. Representatives at privately held Shenzhen Kang Vape Technology did not respond to requests to comment. Well, look at that. We haven't talked to John Glosser in a while. But if you look through our shows, he's been on. He was our sponsor. I should reach out to him and say, be our sponsor again. Come on the show, man. Filling a sweet void, Juul popularized e-cigarettes among teenagers starting in 2017. Juul's cachet with teens faded after 2019 when it pulled mango, mint, and fruit flavors under regulatory pressure, leaving room for dozens of other brands to step in. As sales of flavored disposable devices have soared, Juul's U.S. market share fell to about 30% from more than 70% in 2018 and 2019, according to the data. At Luxury Tobacco and Vape in Raleigh, North Carolina, a display for disposable Elf Bar recently offered more than a dozen flavors, such as sour apple, rainbow candy. Juul occupied just a fraction of the shelf. Juul declined to comment on the display. Elf Bar did not respond to requests for comment. According to the FDA rules, e-cigarettes cannot be sold in the United States unless their makers submitted scientific applications by 2020, demonstrating why their products benefit public health. E-cigarettes containing synthetic nicotine had until May 14 of 2022 to apply. Reuters provided the FDA with a list of more than 24 flavored devices that the news agency found in stores and online, even though they were not on the FDA list of products that had filed applications by 2020. The FDA declined to answer questions about whether the products Reuters identified had applied for their required authorizations, because it's none of your business. An FDA spokesperson pointed to the agency's website, which stated, "Our compliance enforcement work is a multi-step process that cannot happen overnight." Mitch the bitch Zeller, who retired in April as the director of FDA's tobacco unit, told Reuters there could be gaps in this list because the FDA needed cooperation from applicants in order to publicly list them. What? The FDA needed cooperation? What are you talking about? They submitted applications. You have their names. You have the names of the products they applied, that they submitted application for. What else do you need? It's a matter of public record. Their applications belong to the government, and as a taxpayer, they belong to me. So I should be able to read them if I want. You should be able to tell me any information in them that I ask for. That should be pretty easy. I'm not asking for an actual photocopy of all of their science so that I can use it in my own application. I'm not asking for that. So there's no corporate, there's no industrial espionage going on if you're asking for the name of a product and whether or not it was an applicant, it had been applied. I don't get it. Is FDA going to catch every single violation of the statute? No, Zeller said, while he said targeting manufacturers that have not applied its FDA number one priority. Except the 3 largest closed pods on the market admitted that they didn't submit their applications before the deadline in 2016. And they're still selling their product anyway. Seems like that would be an easy one to fix. That should be pretty easy. You're going to remove, what did it say there? Each of them have 30% of the market or something like that. So you could really crush the disposable market really fast by, killing those 3 companies. The agency said it is on its website on August the 3rd that it is illegal to sell any e-cigarettes using synthetic nicotine without its authorization. As of August 15, the FDA had not granted authorization to any of them. See, they're all illegal. Alex Morin, 19, used Juul starting in 2017 when he was a high school freshman. So he admitted to breaking the law because in 2017, it was already illegal for him to purchase those products in Florida. Anywhere in the United States, he was still below the age of 18. So they were deemed a tobacco product. So even if it wasn't a T21 state in 2017, it was still illegal for him to have them because he was under the age of 18. After Juul eliminated those flavors, Morin began buying fruity, sweet flavored disposable e-cigarettes such as Cali Plus, HQD QV Plus, made by Cali Pods, the HQD Tech USA, both based in Florida. They just taste better and there were more flavors. He said they're still all out there and easy to get. the statute of limitations. I don't know. I'm sure they couldn't arrest him now at 19, even though he admitted it. It's in black and white. He admitted it. It's against the rules. He broke the law. Cali Pods and HQD. None of these people are going to respond to you. They're not. I mean, I don't. Other than John. And anyway, after he began using e-cigarettes, he suffered headaches and nausea, then seizures that sent him to the hospital 6 times. Okay, if you are using a product, any product, you're using a product, and it causes you to have a seizure, wouldn't that immediately make you think, okay, I can't, I had a seizure. I don't want to go to the hospital. I don't want to die. I need to stop. But no, he did it 5 more times. It says here he went to the hospital 6 times for seizures. Yes, he is still actually underage. So yes, he's actually admitting to breaking the law because it is T21 now. But yes, how stupid do you have to be after having 1 seizure and you're blaming it on vaping? So why would you, if you're stupid enough to say that the seizures were caused by nicotine and vaping, how stupid do you have to be to keep doing it? You know what I'm saying? This guy, Michael, he's not very bright. No, this guy, Alex, I'm sorry. Not talking to you, Michael. I apologize. That was an honest mistake. I was reading 2 different screens at the same time. Yes. Then seizures that sent him to the hospital 6 times between January of 2020 and last November. Morin and his mother, Wina Morin, well, his last name is Morin, so that's pretty close to moron, said he had never experienced seizures before his e-cigarette addiction. Wina Morin provided hospital records corroborating the seizures. Researchers have established no definitive link between vaping and seizures. The FDA told Reuters it is seeking to understand whether the device's nicotine content or formulation may contribute to seizures. Most reports of seizures from e-cigarettes have come from youth or young adult users, the FDA said. And that is it. That is the stupid. That is more stupid information. And if Mark Sliss was here, he would indeed be driving. He would be angry. He's showing his nicotine molecule tattoo off, and he's saying, this is a lie. I can see, I'm imagining him being very angry. A Bastard says, every time I have a seizure, they pay me for my story. It could be. Could be. Let's see. Any good news? There's actually is some good news, but I always save the good news for the last. Good news is for last. That's like coffee is for closers. That is a good movie. We should do a watch party on Amazon. They have a watch party where you can watch movies. If you own the movie, you can have a watch party with your friends. That's a good movie. I'm checking Twitter real quick to see if anybody has tweeted anything worth looking at before I read the next article to piss people off. My friend Peggy at e-cigarette source is having freshly squeezed ripe mango lemonade as a product that she is promoting on her Twitter. And if you're not following Peggy, that is at e-cig source FL, Florida. You should definitely follow Peggy. She is a wonderful lady. We love her to death. Hey, there's an article here that somebody tweeted saying, does vaping turn you into a pothead? In my case, no. In my case, no. I'm taking a moment. My voice is starting to crack. Let me get some tea here. This is peach tea, by the way. And there's no bourbon in it this time. Bastard says he's sneaking off to check for that movie. Glengarry Glen Ross. Yeah, that's a good movie. Michael Redfern says, I was a pothead first. Before he was a vapor, he was a pothead. To tell you the truth, I did indeed try pot way before I was ever a vapor. Michael Pesco. Just scrolling through. You know, I don't play video games on my phone, but if I did, I'm sure that it wouldn't look like this. But this is on my Twitter feed. I'm sure the game doesn't look like this. But yes. Bourbon and tea. What flavor? Well, yeah, peach tea. Bourbon peach tea would be awesome. We had to vape our weed between two hot knives. Actually, I just used an apple, buddy. That's how we did it back in the old days. We just poked a hole through the apple and carved a little bowl in there and lit it. And then you had that's maybe how us read next to it. That's smoking. We didn't. When I was young, dude, there was no such thing as vaping when I was old enough. By the time people were vaping pot, I was already a grown-up adult, responsible human being. I didn't have the ability to do that. Yeah. I'm old. You know that, right? I'm old. Most of you young kids out there don't know how bad it could be. But anyway, let me go to the next article. There's a piece here from Clackamas County. Clackamas County. They've had hot knives forever. Well, sure they have, but you know, you put hot water on a knife, it's a knife. It's hot water. But flavored pot, yes, they should indeed ban it. If they're banning vaping nicotine, they should ban vaping pot. I'm just saying. It's got to be fair across the board. And even anybody know where Clackamas County is? I bet you it's like Tennessee or something like that. Nope. Oregon. Well, I don't know. Clackamas County issued public health advisory for teen vaping. So it says here, the percent of teens in Clackamas County who vape has increased by more than 4 times since 2013, said Philip Mason Joyner, Clackamas County Public Health Director. In fact, over 26% of Clackamas County's 11th grade students have reported using e-cigarettes or tobacco products, which is the highest rate in the region. Yeah, I think that they have an extra in this article. The advisory is designed to raise awareness of health risks associated with vaping. Tobacco companies have a long history of using predatory methods to deliberately attract specific groups, including people of color, low-income individuals, and LGBTQ communities, said Christina Bottomer, co-chair of the Clackamas Public Health Advisory Committee. Fortunately, we know from what's worked in other communities that there are proven strategies that we can pursue locally to protect youth from the dangerous lifelong health impacts caused by vape and tobacco products. So they have issued an advisory, a public health advisory for a very, this is where I want to use, a very nice product that helps people not die. So let's put a public health warning out there for this evil product that saves people's lives. Yes, let's do that. Oh, this one will be good. Let me pre-rub it so that you guys are not stuck with the. Come on, Bertha. There we go. I don't know why I'm having a lag. I just got new fiber optic upgrade last Saturday. My speeds are like 380. I'm only supposed to be getting 300, but I'm getting 380 right now. So anyway, it says, is vaping bad for you? London doctor explains exactly how bad vaping really is for your health. You're going to love this one, by the way. I actually love this. There are fears that the e-cigarette boom in young people is a health crisis ticking time bomb. So let's scroll down and see what. Oh, here's some stock footage. This is the number. It says here, the number of 16 to 18-year-olds who say they use e-cigarettes has doubled in the last 2 months or 12 months. So let's see. Let's read this. It says, vapes can be everywhere these days. The small, colorful, flavorful sticks are both cheap and often disposable. Over the last few years, there have been growing concern about the increasing popularity of disposable vapes among children and young people. The proportion of children who admit to ever having tried vaping has also risen from 14% in 2020 to 16% in 2022, according to Charity Action on Smoking and Health. This is the UK ASH. It is easy to see why they are easily accessible. No need to get into a car with a stranger and buy them off of the black market. The disposable vapes that cost around £5 each are sold in most off licenses, Amazon and eBay. Well, Amazon won't sell that shit here. But like most vices, there's a dissociation between how bad they are for us and how they make us feel. Many parents might be concerned, especially given there are few warnings of the risk of an epidemic from health officials or the government. So just how bad are they for you? We spoke to experts. It says here, while it is illegal to sell vapes to under 18s, social media carries posts from teenagers showing the new vapes and discussing the flavors, which include pink lemonade, strawberry, banana, and mango. What is vaping and how does it work? I'm not going to read that. So now it says here, here's a picture of a doctor. No serious commentator would describe vaping as completely safe. This is Nick Hopkinson. He's a professor of respiratory medicine at Imperial College, as well as an honorary consultant chest physician at the Royal Brompton Hospital. It says here, for years, the general consensus has been to promote vapes because they carry a fraction of the risk of smoking and can play a key role in it, reducing 78,000 people killed each year in the UK by smoking. While e-cigarettes are considered a significantly safer alternative to smoking, they are still potentially dangerous to health. A consensus that consultant Nick Hopkinson shares. The professor of respiratory medicine at Imperial College and chest physician at the Royal Brompton Hospital told My London, vaping is much, much safer than smoking. So if smokers switch across completely to vaping, that will bring a big benefit to their health and the health of those around them. So the headline is, let's scroll up, is vaping bad for you? London doctor explains exactly how bad vaping really is for your health. So you scroll back down here. This is the quote that he just said. If he says this is how bad it is, or this is one of his quotes. Vaping is much, much safer than smoking. So if smokers switch across completely to vaping, that will bring a big benefit to their health and the health of those around them. I like that quote. Good guy. So then there's another little quote. This is because the toxic materials that are present in cigarette smoke either aren't in the vapor from e-cigarettes or they are present at much lower levels. However, no serious commentator would describe vaping as completely safe. So in the long term, people who have switched across from smoking should try to quit vaping too. People who don't smoke should avoid vaping. And then it goes down here. It says, they are a relatively new product. Child respiratory doctors and charities have criticized the government for failing to heed warnings about the risk of allowing e-cigarettes to be sold in child-friendly packaging containing the names of popular sweet treats, including banana milkshake. I like banana milkshake. And jelly babies. If you live in the southern United States or anywhere that there is a Whataburger, go to Whataburger and buy, because during the summer they have a limited edition banana pudding milkshake available. Get some French fries and the banana pudding milkshake, and use your French fries as a scoop to get the salty and the sweet is awesome. I know people that do that with Frosties at Wendy's, but I'm telling you, the banana pudding shit is the faux shizzle. Anyway, where was I? And jelly babies. The rise of vaping is a relatively new phenomenon, and the ability for scientists to research their effects may not have kept pace. There are concerns that many of the products on sale in the UK are illicit and may contain banned chemicals or super strength nicotine. Does that mean if I vape them, I get super strong? Is because I'd be all right. I need some more biceps. I got some heavy patients, and some of them are starting to. I'm starting to get old and creak at picking up some of these 300-pound patients. Ali Z. Frogel, policy manager at Cancer Research UK, echoed this idea. She said, evidence to date shows that e-cigarettes are far less harmful than smoking tobacco and can help people to stop. But we strongly discourage those who have never smoked from using them, especially young people. That makes sense to me. Of course, we don't want to promote this product to people that don't smoke. But to be clear, there are a lot of people that if given the opportunity and they find out the nicotine benefits them, I would much rather they vape than smoke. Let's just say. And we already know that nicotine does benefit some people. Now, this picture here is driving me crazy. I need to get past this real quick because this is driving me. Yeah. I'm going to go right past the flea picture. While it is illegal to sell vapes to under 18, social media carries what? That is the same thing that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I'm not even gonna. Scared me for a minute there. I thought I was losing my mind. Well, I'll go ahead and read it. While it is illegal to sell vapes to under 18s, social media carries posts from teenagers showing the new vapes and discussing the flavors. Data from the survey of children carried out by the ASH organization and part funded by the DOH, Department of Health, shows underage vapors were most likely to get their vapes from shops, 47%, while 10% buy them online and 43% are given them. Are given them. Fruit flavors remain the most popular type at 57%. That still means that 43% of them are not fruit flavors. A Department of Health and Social Care spokesperson said the UK had some of the strongest regulations in place on vapes to protect children and young people and was considering further measures. We are clear that vaping should only be used to help people quit smoking. Vapes should not be used by children, young people, or non-smokers. Yeah, well, that's fine. That's all well and good. That's okay. But you can't guarantee that. I'm pausing for a minute to go over to the Twitters and open a message bar so that I can scroll down to Mark Sliss and send him a message with the invitation to the show. He may not. He may just say I fell asleep because I haven't seen him for a while. So he may have gone to bed, but I will send him the StreamYard link on Twitter and the Twitter messaging. And I will go over here to Facebook and go to Kevin. And if Kevin is home, I will send him the link as well. So there. I have invited 2 people. If one of them shows up, I will be amazed. But anyway, so the next article. So, somebody asked me a while ago, well, Kevin's son chose today of all days to get an abscessed tooth and require that his dad take him to a 24-hour dentist to get his abscessed tooth fixed. And Mark Sliss said he might show up. He's got a sick dog at home, and he's trying to get the dog pacified, and he might show up. But if you want to come in, Jeffrey Zamora, I will send you the link as well, because I still have more articles to share, and I really prefer to have a co-host to make fun of when I'm reading articles. So there. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing, Jeffrey. Where are you at? I'm scrolling down. I'm going to find you in the Twitter Messenger. Don't you worry. I will find you, Jeffrey Zamora. Jeffrey. Only somebody as old as me would know the Jeffrey thing. That's from Bill Cosby's stand-up. What? There you are, Jeffrey Zamora. I found you. There. Fine. If you want to come in and be Ed McMahon, you can be Ed McMahon too. I could have multiple Ed McMahons. That's also an old reference that everybody may not get. But the next article, so that article that I just read is talking about, they're saying, they're trying to tell you, is vaping bad for you? Exactly how bad is it? And the guy's like, hey, it's way better than smoking. This is a very positive piece. Somebody asked me a while ago, is every one of these articles negative? That one was a positive piece. I mean, I can spin it. I could make it worse, but I got an even better one. This is also a UK doctor giving his opinion on vaping. No, it's British Columbia. So it's a Canadian doctor. So there, I'm going to show you this. It's from 4BC 882 News Talk Radio. So it is a British Columbia talk radio. So it says here, Dr. Karl's simple analogy to explain the risks of vaping. So it's Dr. Karl. So there's a picture of Dr. Karl with a really weird looking shirt, and the same photograph that was just in that other article that we just showed of the red Escobar sort of thing with the kid. So anyway, Dr. Karl, no, it's Australian. I apologize. This is not Canadian. Dr. Karl has cleared up a commonly held misconception about whether vaping is harmful to lungs. The Australian Bureau of Statistics has found that more than 1 in 5 young Australians have used an e-cigarette or vaping device at least once. It has experts concerned the products will create another generation of nicotine addicts and a rise in health issues like lung disease and cancer. Laurel says her son argues vaping is better for you than smoking, but its logic Dr. Karl doesn't agree with. So it says here, it's not as bad as smoking, but it's still bad for you in the same way that banging your thumb with a hammer is not as bad as banging your head with a hammer. There is a significant difference between banging your thumb with a hammer and banging your head with a hammer, or me banging your thumb with a hammer, or me using the claw side of the hammer against your head. I'm just saying. They're both bad. Just don't do either is what he said. So I disagree with that, but the analogy is valid. I could kill you with a hammer to the head, but a thumb is just going to hurt a little bit. You know, it's not going to kill you. But that was a short little piece. So is any one of you guys going to come in? I sent 3 links out. I'm telling you, Jeffrey, this is your opportunity. I could make you a star tonight. Rod says he doesn't have a clue and is a big blocker. Is that a bad thing, being a blocker? Is a blocker bad? I don't know. I don't know. That sounds like some weird foreign conversation there, some weird foreign use of the word blocker. I'm worried now. I'm worried. But anyway, Channel 7 News out of Boston and several other news outlets reported this, but I just selected this one. It says FDA targets illegal nicotine gummies in new warning letter. So the story says it's bad when you're a scientist blocking people presenting science. That's true. That is true. Federal regulators on Thursday issued a first-of-its-kind warning to a maker of nicotine gummies, saying the illegal candies pose a growing risk to teenagers and younger children. Oh, this ought to be interesting. The Food and Drug Administration said the fruit-flavored gummies from Florida manufacturer VPR Brands could cause nicotine poisoning or even death if eaten by small children. Regulators also cited recent research suggesting nicotine candies and similar products are becoming more popular among high school students. Nicotine gummies are a public health crisis. Really? This is a new one for me. Nicotine gummies are a public health crisis just waiting to happen among our nation's youth, particularly as we head into a new school year, says FDA Commissioner Robert Califf. In March, Congress passed a new law granting FDA authority over all forms of nicotine, regardless of whether they're from tobacco plants or manufactured in a laboratory. That closed a loophole in FDA's oversight, which until then only included nicotine from plants. Manufacturer VPR Brands markets its square-shaped gummies as containing tobacco-free nicotine. In recent years, many vaping companies have similarly claimed that they've switched to synthetic nicotine. An employee at VPR Brands, reached by phone Thursday, declined to comment. The FDA's warning letter gives the company 15 days to remove or address the violations. The agency said VPR Brands has not applied for permission to market the gummies because, as far as I know, there is no application process for gummies. I could be wrong. FDA warnings are not legally binding, but the agency can take companies to court if they are ignored. The FDA has been working for 15 years to reverse a rise in electronic cigarettes among U.S. teenagers with mixed results. Last month, the agency announced plans to ban e-cigarettes from Juul, only to put the order on hold after facing legal pushback from the popular vaping company. I would argue that they're not very popular anymore, but anyway, a recent FDA funded study, found nicotine candies were the second most popular tobacco product used by high school students in Southern California, behind only e-cigarettes. The FDA said Thursday's action is the first warning to a maker of nicotine gummies. What's the name of Big Pharma's nicotine gum? When will they start making nicotine gummies? As soon as the entire market is cleared and they have plenty of shelf space available, they will jump on that. Plus, they're going to make nicotine pouches. They're going to make nicotine inhalers, all sorts of stuff, because they've recently purchased several pharmaceutical companies in the last 2 years or so that own patents on unique delivery methods. I don't know that they have a gummy delivery method, though. The FDA said Thursday's action is the first warning letter to a maker of nicotine gummies. The FDA has come under intense congressional pressure after announcing last month it would miss a deadline to remove thousands of unauthorized synthetic nicotine products from the market. The agency said it is working as quickly as possible to review 1 million marketing applications it received from over 200 companies. The lack of action has sparked frustration from lawmakers, including Democratic Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, who called the delay deeply disappointing and unacceptable in a letter last month. FDA's CALIF subsequently announced plans for an outside review of FDA's tobacco division, a rare step that followed recent criticism of the program. So there. I have a response tweet on that. Yes, I know you do. I'm positive you do, Raj, because you have a tweet for everything. Let's go to Raj's Twitter. We will highlight Raj's Twitter if I can find it. Alouette, Raj, you could, if you have a cam and a set of headphones, you could easily also be Ed McMahon. But let's look here. Let's see if I can find a tweet that looks like it could possibly be about. Oh, well, there's a German tweet here with pictures of flavored. It's from Norbert. No, it's not. It's from Dave. It's from Dave. Let's see. Raj retweeted. All right. Good thing we have Twitter Translate here. It says here in German, but I'm gonna translate this for you. I'm gonna read it in German and tell you exactly what he says. It was only a matter of time before this completely idiotic discussion spilled over from the United States to the EU. Pharmaceutical industry fears for their billions in profits with so-called nicotine replacement products, and they contain the same nicotine as e-cigarettes. And there's some Nicoderm and Nicorette, and then there's let's see, what does it say here? This product contains nicotine. The nicotine was milked from unicorns and is not addictive. That's kind of funny. In a meme way, 6 son of a bitch was trying to vape strawberry shortcake instead of smoking. Hey, look, there's some nicotine gum and flavors. Fruit chill and white ice mint and cinnamon surge. Vodka. Actually, my wife has a bottle of this Choco Vine in our wine refrigerator. I myself would never lower myself to drink Crown Royal, but yeah, I have a anti-Crown Royal. Cinnamon Surge, man. Cinnamon Surge. I'm not sure if that is the tweet that you were talking about, Raj, but that was the first one that looked like it was. I'm going to scroll down and see if I can find Raj's tweet. Raj. Yeah, there's a lot of AVM retweets on here, dude. Don't obsess so much about that. Come on. Man, he only retweets AVM, apparently. Oh, there he is. He's retweeting. Is that the one? That's the same article that I just read earlier. Yeah. All right, Raj. Let's remove this. I think, Bruni, if you have headphones, I'll send you a link. You have to have headphones, though. I'll go over to Bruni. We can just shoot the breeze with Bruni. We don't have to read articles for Bruni. Oh, I misspelled Bruni. How do you misspell Bruni? Broony. There you are. Oh. Bruni hasn't been on since last May because the last direct message I sent to him was a link to a StreamYard show. So it has been over a year since Bruni's been on. Yes, Sean, this is my slacker summer beard. Since I have to wear an N95 every day, nobody can see my face, so might as well be as scruffy as I want to be, Sean. I don't know, Raj. I was looking at your profile. Like the last 40 tweets were all AVM retweets, man. I think you're just retweeting other people. Just saying. All right, let's go to the next article. Actually, if you look in the show notes, the same headline was redone by three different news sources. So I'm just going to pick one of the news sources that published this same article, and it's the same article written by Farid. Let me close this ad. Sean Casey says he doesn't tweet. He doesn't tweet. All right, let's rub it. Let's rub it. It says smoking campaigns take a backseat to vaping. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware that Kevin and I have covered this topic quite extensively over the last 2 years. You don't hardly see any anti-smoking advertisements anymore. It's all anti-vaping. All of the major anti-smoking organizations have silently, have sneakily, have behind the scenes, when nobody was looking, changed their mission statements to be no longer a smoke-free future or to destroy, addiction to cigarettes. They are now, all of them have shifted their mission focus to a nicotine-free future. They've done that quite quickly. So anti-tobacco campaigns are running out of puff, with a new report indicating a shift in public health campaign funding and attention to e-cigarettes. A fresh study published in the Australian and New Zealand Journal of Public Health interviewed 31 experts, including tobacco control advocates and health practitioners, who said new messagings and funds were needed for stagnating campaigns. I sent Bernie the link. If he wants to come in, he can come in. I haven't heard a boop yet. I get a boop. I didn't get a boop. To achieve Australia's goal of reducing smoking prevalence to less than 5% by 2030 and ease tobacco's considerable burden on the health system, we need to invest in what works, said the University of Melbourne's Michelle Jungnellis. I'm going to ask Bruni if he shows in to say this name, because I'm sure as an Aussie, he will be able to say it. Despite evidence that hard-hitting mass media campaigns on tobacco harms are crucial in reducing smoking prevalence, Australia's investment in such campaigns is below standard and has decreased significantly. Dr. Jungnellis said the experts she spoke with are calling for an updated evidence-based national strategy to help smokers quit. Well, then they need to promote vaping, because vaping works. Because I actually have an article later that says that 2 in 5 people, if given a free e-cigarette, quit smoking. That's a pretty good percentage. She warned many reforms must be protected from lobby groups exploiting legal loopholes. We are fighting a powerful tobacco industry that continues to interfere with smoking reduction efforts, the researcher said. They claim to desire a smoke-free world, but this is simply an attempt to legitimize their activities while they continue to spend billions promoting tobacco cigarettes. Oh, here. Now Bruni's all chueco. He's sideways. Bruni, you're crooked. Now you got to unmute yourself.
Okay. Am I will we set yet?
There you go. So you have to say this name for me.
Okay. Am I will we set yet? Say what?
Say this name right here, Dr.
I'm looking. I can't see it.
I've highlighted
Dr. Jungnellis.
You got a TV on in the background?
Oh. Oops.
All right, yeah. You gotta get rid
My
of that.
bad.
Hey, Janine showed up too at the get Broody on camera, and Janine shows up. How awesome is that? So, Dr. John
Junglius.
John Ganellis.
The J's should be probably like the Spanish with a Y sound.
Well, it's not a name that I have an easy way of pronouncing it. How about that?
Probably Swiss. Swiss.
It's weird. How about that? We'll just say weird. So they are exploiting loopholes in our legislation and lobbying policymakers to soften laws so that they can continue to sell a product that kills millions worldwide every year. That's what Dr. J said. Just going to call her Dr. J. So they're saying that they don't have any money for anti-smoking advertisements. So they've spent all of their money on anti-vaping propaganda. So they don't have any money left over for stop smoking campaigns.
Silly.
So I got a comment earlier about my scruffiness. So I'm waiting for Sean Casey to say something about your beard. He was making fun of my beard. So
thanks, I bastard.
What did bastard? Fine beard, young Bruni. So I follow an Aussie comic book creator, and he uses the term bogan in a very complimentary way. He calls his fans, even his American fans, bogans. What are your thoughts on what a bogan is, Bruni?
Oh, bogan, basically just your LMIC, lower middle class income sort of people, and just are what they are. They're just, they don't try to put on airs or graces or anything like that.
So it's not a negative, is what you're saying?
Yeah, not a negative unless you're an elite.
Because I know we've interviewed the vaping bogan on the show.
Yep,
and
he's a bogan.
You know, he made it seem that it was an insult, and I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't being insulted.
No. Well, I mean, as I said, if you're one of the elite or a private schoolboy or something like that,
I'm very sensitive.
Oh, it's nothing wrong with being sensitive.
Can't you tell I'm wearing a hat that says extra large?
Oh.
I'm wearing an extra large hat.
So
Janine says that David Lloyd sucks? Yeah, I know that David Lloyd sucks. That's not very nice, Janine. Oh, you're saying the tax sucks, not that David Lloyd sucks. I got it. I get you. So what's been going on over there in the koala land? Not koala. Yeah, koala land.
I suppose just everybody's still getting used to having a new prime minister and seeing what he's going to do and see if there's going to be any real major changes to the last one.
Is he going to say not on my watch?
Oh, that's what I'm worried about. I mean, I'm not too sure about the new health minister, the last one, Catherine King. She was anti-vaping as well. They're just, I don't know, buying into the lies. Just whoever's got the most money to pay them seems to get what they want. They're just all greedy.
Well, I mean, isn't that the beauty of being elected prime minister, is that you can lord it over all of the other regular folk, that you get to push your agenda and get what you want?
Well, the last one did. He bloody made himself secretly. He grabbed 5 portfolios, which is, that's 5 times the money going into his bank account. But media doesn't seem to be picking up on that one. Yeah, the last one definitely lorded over us.
Yeah, like he was saying all sorts of not proper things.
Oh, embarrassed Australia internationally. He really did.
So he pulled a Trump, is what? No, he wasn't nearly as bad as Trump, was he?
Yeah, worse. I reckon he was far worse.
Wow.
He was far worse.
I mean, maybe on vaping, but
vaping on everything is just very selfish.
And you're talking about Greggy, right? Is that his name, Greggy?
Greg Hunt. No, he's the health minister. He hated people too. But
is he still there too?
No. He walked out, and I think he's got himself a job in the pharmacy company somewhere with good wages.
See, I like this. Look.
Oh,
just there. Look.
I can't do it. Yeah, I got myself a geek vape, and just wanted to try the pod system, see what it's all about, and it's become my mainstay of this one.
Yeah, I've been vaping. I have 2 of these. I've been vaping this for like 2 weeks now, because it's easy to carry around. Plus, this is rebuildable.
That's it. So, yeah.
I haven't got the rebuildable yet. I need to find somebody that has an Aspire account and wants to order a couple of these just for me to have.
Well, I mean,
I can get them for Fastech, I guess. I don't know.
But even with the Aspire, the good thing about Aspire is that they'll always keep on making the atomizers for each of their tanks.
Well,
when they replace them.
I reached out directly to them to ask if they would just sell me extra rebuildables and they said no. I was like, assholes.
Yeah.
They're assholes.
All right.
It's like, I'm a very important person. You should sell. I didn't ask for that for free. I was just like, sell me extra pods so that I can carry different flavors around. And they said no. I guess I'm not important. I'm not important enough.
Well, we'll just have to get everybody to try and. Sorry. Have to try and get everybody to help build up this channel, and so you can get more important.
No, they just want me to buy extras so that I can take the refillable pod out of each one of the extras.
That's a bit of a waste.
I know, right? But whatever.
Yeah.
Tom says he's got several POC X, and they rock.
Oh, okay.
The Aspire POC X.
Yeah.
We are not legally allowed on YouTube to share links to any products or say, this product is, well, I guess we can say this product is good or whatever, but we're not allowed to promote them in that way, shape, or form.
Yeah, well, we're not advertising.
Aspire's not going to send me or sell me stuff because they're not able to. They're not able to benefit from it. They actually do have a coil pod that you can. I have those, but you can't use the rebuildable. And I prefer the rebuildable. I prefer to be in charge of that. But anywho, hey, I got video here. Don't you love it when I have video to share?
Oh yeah.
Really? Are you doing this to me now? Oh no, there it is. All right. So let me get through the advertisement before I share this on screen, because you guys don't want to see the advertisement.
Sorry about the camera work, people. Too. I'm using a handheld. I'm using my mobile phone for the camera.
You need a tripod for your camera.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, but here, let's watch this.
As more area students are going back to school, more than 2 million middle and high school students admit to using e-cigarettes in a recent survey. We want to get into e-cigarette risk and more right now with a Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids president, Matt Myers, and Kate King from the National Association of School Nurses. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, Matt, these are some alarming statistics that we're learning about. What's your first reaction on that? And also just this, what appears to be an epidemic in our communities across the country?
It is
now they're using file footage. I know several of the companies that are shown here are no longer, have not been in business for like a couple of years. But anyway.
Epidemic. You know, while the headlines are gone, the problem has continued. The flavored e-cigarette products that have fueled youth e-cigarette use over the last 5 years are still widely available. We've seen actually a 240% growth of the type of flavored e-cigarettes that most appeal to kids in the last 2 years. It's one of the reasons why we're concerned that as kids are going back to school, a new focus really needs to be paid on what can be done for parents to talk to their kids, and frankly, for city councils and state legislatures and the FDA to do its job. You know, these flavored products only serve one purpose. They make profits for an industry.
They only serve one purpose. They keep me and Bruni off of smoking cigarettes.
Totally agree.
That is targeting our children.
What are the physical and mental health risks, Kate, when it comes to these e-cigs?
Well, you know, as school nurses, we're always looking at the health of our children, not only in school, but in the communities. And certainly e-cigarettes deliver a mighty, powerful punch of nicotine, much more than regular cigarettes.
A mighty, powerful punch of nicotine that will reduce their symptoms of depression, ADHD, many other neurodiverse issues, as we've covered fully. I guarantee you that she's going to say that nicotine causes all of those problems. Let's just see.
Due to our students. And so they're ingesting more nicotine and more byproducts from those e-cigarettes, which can cause great lung damage to our children. So that's kind of some of the physical start. We also look at the addiction. So we know that adolescents have a higher risk of addiction, and starting with these flavored bubblegum, banana, all of those fruit flavors can really hook them on nicotine, and that's then for life. So
I think we should ban all fruits from adults and kids. I think that kids and adults should not be able to go to the produce department of the grocery store and buy apples and bananas and oranges and pears and strawberries and blueberries. They should be banned because they could cause them to be addicted to fruits.
What's the bet she's got some lollies in her handbag?
Probably got a bottle of Chardonnay and some Xanax ready to go.
Again, we're looking at lung damage. We're looking at dependence. We're looking at sneaking around. We're looking at all those factors that affect our children.
Yeah, and I see here on the video all of the colors, right? Everything that certainly targets children. I want to get both you, Kate and Matt, on this next question. What are some tips for parents and guardians to be able to spot if their children are using e-cigarettes?
Now, this is probably the same list that was on last week's show where they talked about kids sneaking around, kids not talking to their parents, kids wearing cologne because they're going through puberty and they want to attract a potential mate. Let's see.
Kate.
So the thing is to look at, one thing is to look at their rooms, look at their things. You know, you're going to not see a cigarette. So if you saw your child.
Spy on your kids.
In the hallway, if we see them in schools puffing on a cigarette, we'd be appalled. We'd be like, oh my gosh, we can smell that smoke. We can see them. E-cigarettes are very difficult to see. I'm just going to show you, this is a Juul, hard to see. And you might get a whiff of that.
Hard to see? Did you? Was that invisible? Was that camouflage?
Flavor, like a bubble gum, a whiff of a banana flavor. You're also going to look that your child is kind of excusing themselves for things more often. And sometimes a little cough, sometimes, that sneaking away. So those are some of the things that I would look for. But
now, not to get too personal here, Bruni, but as a teenage boy, when you asked for some privacy from your parents and you went to your room, odds are it wasn't because you were vaping. It was probably because the wind changed directions and you maybe because teenage boys get very excited about certain things for no apparent reason and sneak off to handle business. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get too graphic here for y'all, but teenage boys do certain things.
That's puberty.
And I don't want to, almost say anything else, but okay.
We see in schools are that children are using them with just impunity in the hall, anywhere they are.
Matt, what's your advice to recognize that?
Impunity. They're using them with impunity in the hallways, Bruni. I don't know if she actually knows what impunity means because, well.
That's kind of fancy.
Janine says that she doesn't understand because she was never a teenage boy. I get it, Janine. I understand it. I know that I'm being very vague here, but as an adult woman, you have an imagination. I'm just saying.
Advice, really good advice for parents. A couple things is you need to recognize what they are. The picture you have up here is a good example. They look like a flash drive, or this
that does not look like a flash drive.
The cigarette is called a puff bar. Understand what they are. If your kid excuses himself even more than usual to go to his room to be alone, be on the lookout. Because
he's taking
when
matters
your
into
boy
he's taking matters into his own hands. How about that? Does that help you?
when you're going through that stages, boys don't talk. Boys just nod and grunt, and they don't want attention all the time.
They're teenagers.
They want to get away from everybody.
They don't want to hang out with their parents.
No.
Teenage boys specifically. I don't know about teenage girls because I was never a teenage girl, but I don't know that any teenagers want to spend time with their stuffy old parents, because when I was a kid, my parents were not cool. And I don't imagine any teenager thinks that his mom and dad are cool. And they definitely don't want to socialize and hang out with their parents.
So you
and have 1,000 questions.
Because they affect attention span, stress in a negative way. Look out for that.
Oh yeah, they they affect your attention span and stress in a negative way. They don't nicotine does not in any way, shape, or form help mental focus at all. Isn't that right, Bruni?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And they don't in any way, shape, or form relieve stress.
Oh no, don't do that.
Critical things is parents have three things they can do. One is they should talk to their kids. Kids do listen. Don't preach.
Okay, talk to your kids, is what he said, instead of talk with your kid.
They're talking at their kids. If they're doing that, they're talking at their kids. There's a difference
to them, but make sure they realize this is not a safe alternative. Second, they should speak to their school community and in their community itself, because there's something that people can do. We don't have to allow the sale of these flavored products. The District of Columbia has banned them effective in October, but Virginia and Maryland and the local communities have taken no action. And third, the only reason they still exist is the Food and Drug Administration hasn't done its job. We should be speaking now to the Food and Drug Administration, our local legislators, telling them it's time to get rid of these products.
Well, Matt and Kate, I wish we had more time, but you gave great information over the last 5 minutes, and we certainly appreciate it as all of our children head back to school. Take care and thank you.
Now, I played this video with a purpose, as always. Now, you've noticed this video clip exists now. You've seen Matt Myers and this Karen-looking woman. So recognize this face and recognize this face. Obviously, you know Matt Myers. Look at the background. Look at his tie and his suit, because I promise you, in the next 2 weeks, you're going to see the same video package the same video package on multiple news sites, and it's all going to make you think that they're being interviewed live, but it's really Memorex. It's really an embedded advertisement. It's really just propaganda that they're paying they're paying local TV channels to run this stuff. Here's the script. Say good morning and hello, spend this many seconds. Then Matt is going to speak for this many seconds. Then this other woman is going to speak for this many seconds. So stand there and nod your head for that many seconds, and then ask the next question. Here's the next question. Ask that question. Make sure you ask that question in this amount of time. And then Matt is going to answer the question, or the lady's going to answer the question. It's going to take this many seconds. Stand there and nod and smile like you're, having a live conversation with them. Ask the next question and so forth and so on. That's how this works, boys and girls. It's all scripted. And I promise you, in the next 2 weeks, you're going to see this in at least 30 different markets, because that's how it works.
It's a tax dodge for the. It's a tax dodge also for the.
Yeah, we showed you native advertisements. We've showed you we've talked about the law. It actually is supposed to say the word advertisement in somewhere on the screen, so that people know that it is a paid advertisement or a paid placed ad. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't, and nobody has busted them on it because they're a nonprofit and everybody loves Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids because they're fighting to save our children. So we must not we must not embarrass them. We must not but to be fair, just so that you can see the veracity of this piece, my conversation here, it's already being redone once on Yahoo News. It's the same video package. Here's the advertisement. Well, this is a commercial. But Yahoo News has already picked it up. So it's already there. So let's look for this over the next couple weeks. It's going to be headline Back to School 2022. It'll be repeated for the first 2 weeks of the school year, and it will be in at least 30 different markets. The last couple we found in about 20 plus, and I'm sure that I didn't find every one of them, but yes, it's the same tactics. Bill's in the chat room. Bill loves every time I send Bill an article that he's already seen. He'll show me the same article like 3 years ago. It's the same thing.
Yeah, Bill said also what I was going to say, that the TV stations, they also get the tax credits for advertising non-profit organisations. So,
well, no, yeah, they get a tax break for sure, but they also get paid.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's a double earning.
They get paid. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, twice.
And there's enough in the budget to Photoshop a different tie for Matt. I don't think that they care. I don't think that they. I mean, obviously, I know this because I've showed it to you now. In multiple different instances, the same tactics, using the same video package with just having a new host, the local TV host. We found 16 of the 1 week. We found 16 places that had rebroadcast the same thing, and then the following week we found another 10. So yeah, look for this in the next 2 weeks. I promise you're going to find it in a bunch of different places. So. Anywho, the next piece is from the Biz News, biznews.com. I don't know where biznews.com is, but it says there's a picture here. Please, no smoking, no vaping. But this is a Beverly Hills sign on Rodeo Drive. That's the number 2, not TOO. Hi, Richard Pruin. Richard Pruin just showed up, Bruni.
G'day, Richard. How are you, mate?
Yeah. So it says burning tobacco kills, not nicotine. Vegter, whoever Vegter is, he's clearing the air. This was from today. So anyway, razor sharp as always. Ivo Vegter, writing in the Daily Friend, dissects one of the countless alarmist headlines and increasingly beleaguered but still dominant global anti-tobacco establishment spews out daily into the public domain. The irony of bodies like the World Health Organization anti-tobacco stance is that they dress up what is essentially turf protection by their historically anti-tobacco monolith structures into what they insist is still a virtuous and worthwhile health-promoting behavior, i.e. avoid all nicotine. They're ignoring harm reduction, a highly effective alternative means of improving population health through the use of heat-not-burn nicotine devices. E-cigarettes are up to over 90% less harmful than combustible cigarettes. The WHO chooses to ignore a tobacco industry that has pivoted hugely into the harm reduction area, retooling their combustible tobacco production lines into alternative nicotine devices. Hardly anybody smokes in Sweden and Norway anymore because of an early switch to snus or snus, or however you want to pronounce it, a chewable tobacco. That is not true. You don't chew it. You don't chew your snus. If you buy snus, don't chew them. No, don't do it. They're to be placed in between the gum and the lip and allowed to dissolve. Don't chew them because they're paper, and if you chew them, they bust open in your mouth. Don't do that. Have you ever tried snus, Bernie?
Yeah, I did actually way back in the 80s when they started doing like coaches and all that, the non-smoking and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it just didn't work for me. It just wasn't strong enough. And then the government made it legal.
Are they legal in Australia?
Yeah.
No, they were made illegal.
Illegal.
Yeah.
Illegal.
Okay. So it says hardly anybody smokes in Sweden and Norway anymore because of an early switch to snus or whatever, chewable. It's not chewable. While African countries, probably big tobacco's largest market, cannot yet afford harm reduction devices until they're globally accepted. These devices prices won't reduce. Influential outfits like the WHO aren't helping, says Chris Bateman. Does vaping turn you into a pothead? No. Science about this must be Ivo, this guy here with the fedora. He looks like a bit of a clown. But anyway, science about public health issues is often agenda driven. The latest nonsense to emerge from the halls of academia is that youth vaping leads to cannabis use. And then there's a study. Kids who vape tobacco are more likely to go on to use cannabis. And that's run in the headlines of Yahoo News, selected as a representative example of what the average member of the public might hear. Well, to be honest, kids that experiment with tobacco are probably the same, kids that are going to experiment with alcohol. Probably going to be the same kids that experiment with the marijuana. They're probably risk takers. They're probably doing all sorts of other questionable things, like, asking their parents to, be excused and go to their room and, take things into their own hands. The same. It's going to be the same ones anyway.
Kids here are very big on the MDH and the MGH or whatever it is. And
I don't know any of those. I don't know any of those.
Oh, the pills. Yeah, pill poppers. More so than smokers.
I broke my leg when I was in high school, and that was back in the day when they would give you Percodan. So I had those when I was in high school, so I didn't need anything.
Did you get? I was going to say, did you get much money for them?
No, I actually kept them for myself because I'm not a sharer. I'm not a sharer. Well, it says here, yeah. Well, there we have it. E-cigarettes are a gateway to marijuana, which in turn is a gateway drug to acid and ecstasy and cocaine and heroin. And my precious child will be dead of fentanyl overdose by age 21 if popcorn lung doesn't get them first. If I had $1 for every association discovered in a research paper based on survey data of dubious quality, I'd be able to retire on a yacht. Yeah. So anyway, the top tip is the answer to any headline phrased as a question is always no. That's interesting. Yes, that does look like Miller's hat from The Expanse. There is a strong correlation between the number of measles cases in the United States and the marriage rate. There is a high correlation between the rising number of high school graduates and donut consumption. Nuclear energy production is strongly associated with video game sales. The more films Nicolas Cage appears in a given year, the more people drown themselves in their pools. Correlation is not causation. Damn Skippy, boys and girls. We've said that before on this exact show. I'm actually liking this hipster little punk with the funky hat. Anyway, the study on which the headline is based does not find an association, of course, in the U.S. Youth aged between 12 and 17 that it studied. It tries to exclude potential confounding factors, but admits that there could be others for which it did not control. Notably, there were only 3 survey questions designed to evaluate risk-taking behavior, and they were very superficial. The study did not take into account psychological factors, for the example, that might prove teens to seek out pleasurable behaviors such as vaping or escapist behaviors like smoking weed. Like I just said, the same kids that are going to be vapors are probably the same kids that are looking for, experimentation in other areas. Hell, they may, be willing to do lots of things. You never know.
They might even grow up to be good scientists.
Like the woman at the FDA said, kids are experimenters. They're going to do even, stuff that we tell them not to do. We've been trying to tell people this same bullshit for years. Kids are going to do what you tell them not to do. If I was a kid and my mom said, you are forbidden from doing X, well, I'm going to go fucking do X because you told me not to do it. That's how we are as human beings. If you've ever read a childhood development textbook or taken a childhood psychology class, that is one of the stages of, early adulthood, of post-adolescent. That's part of it. Read a fucking textbook, people. Don't talk about shit you don't know. How about that? That'll never happen. Especially,
they just want you to do what they want you to do.
Especially in the Twitter world. I have an aside here. So there is a very popular YouTube personality. He's an African-American guy from Dallas, Texas. He broadcasts on YouTube. He has a podcast. His name is Eric July. He's also a nerd and a comic book geek like me. And over the last 5 years, he has built a huge following on YouTube talking about freedom and libertarian stuff and comic books. So he has something like 300,000 followers. So about a month ago, he decided, and over the, he goes on and does a show on YouTube, and he collects a couple $1,000s a day when he live streams, just from super chats, and he sells T-shirts and other things. So he took all of his money. He took $200,000 of his own money, and he hired an artist, and he wrote a comic book, and it finished. It's all done, but and he's printing it, and now he's taking pre-orders. In the first 2 weeks of his taking pre-orders of this comic book, he's raised $3.5 million. Nice. $3.5 million. Now there are people all over the internet that are telling him that his business model is not going to work. And I'm like, really? So, because this is my world, and I've never talked to Eric July in real life, but we have interacted on Twitter a couple times. I posted a response. There's this guy on there that's telling him that he's doing it all wrong, that it's not going to last or whatever. I'm like, he spent $200,000 and he's already made $3.5 million. Even if he never produces another comic book again, he still made a profit of $3.3 million.
Yep.
I mean, do you not understand? He doesn't have to work another day ever again. If I have $3.3 million in the bank, I could live off of the interest for the rest of my life. So for some dummy that has 76 followers on Twitter to tell him this is a symptom of the problem, Bruni. People that know nothing are suddenly experts on everything, and they're fearless in posting shit on Twitter because there's no repercussions.
But you never see the business model. You never see them.
Anonymous. Even if they use their real name, there's no repercussions because you don't know where this guy's at. There's no, so people are brave beyond the point of intelligence because they're willing to say anything. So yes, people will print anything in the media and they know they're going to get away with it because there's no repercussions. So suddenly everybody on social media is an expert on every topic. Now, I try not to talk out of my ass on Twitter. I try to stick to things that I'm quite knowledgeable on. So I talk about tobacco harm reduction. I will talk about comic book nerd stuff because I've been a comic book nerd for 50 years. Okay, those are topics that I feel confident in talking about. But I'm not going to go into somebody's thread and say, oh, well, you made $3.5 million. You're running your business wrong. That's just the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But yes, we see it in tobacco harm reduction all the time. People will just say, speak an opinion like it is a scientific fact, and there's no fear. Not to mention TT on the show by name, but he's constantly saying bullshit that is not provable on Twitter, and we feel like it's our responsibility to reply to this moron. For no, like, I have purposefully, like, if I see that name, I will not even read the tweet anymore. And I know some of you assholes, the only reason it's showing up on my Twitter feed is because some of you, and I'm pointing in the chat room and I'm pointing at the viewers at the same time, some of you are engaging with this guy, and we should just ignore him. Mowgli's got a good idea. He says we should restore the practice of dueling. It might improve manners around here. And that's a quote from Edward Abbey. But it's true. I think that, there should be repercussions for saying nonsense, and people should be able to seek satisfaction.
Nicely said.
Yes. So anyway, let's see, where were we at here? The study on which the headline is based does find an association, of course, in the U.S. youth age between 12 and 17 that it studied. It tries to exclude potential confounding factors, but admits that they're blah, blah, blah. We already read all this. The study did not take into account psychological factors, for example, that might prove or drive teens to seek out pleasurable behaviors, blah, blah, blah. We talked about pleasurable behaviors a while ago when we talked about teenagers, seeking privacy from their parents to take matters into their own hands. It refers repeatedly to concerns over the gateway drug effect, although this effect is very poorly supported in the academic literature. On the contrary, there is likely a common factor that increases someone's propensity to use drugs of any kind. Like I said, the ones that are going to experiment with one thing are more likely to experiment with other things, and it has nothing to do with, oh, well, I tried this one first, and then I tried that one second. So therefore, if all people are going to try one, are inevitably going to try two. It's bullshit. If you're willing, if you're the experimenting type, you're going to experiment. That someone might progress from cigarettes to alcohol to soft drugs to hard drugs does not imply a causal connection that could be broken by restricting access to the proposed gateway drug. That is, in absence of cigarettes or alcohol or weed, people with a propensity to use drugs would simply turn to other available drugs, such as painkillers, or easily available hard drugs. What I just said, just in different words. Most drug use, after all, is an attempt at self-medicating to address issues such as material hardship. We talk about poor people being most at risk for smoking, for drugs, for all sorts of stuff. That in higher educated, higher income areas, those people are less likely to use these products or these substances, which is absolutely true. Communities of color are also targets. The LGBTQ, other acronyms that I don't know, other letters, they keep adding new ones. I figure LGBTQ, you know who I'm talking about. They are also targeted. They are also victimized, and they are also under stress and demonized. So they are also at higher risk of using these things or any substances at all. Most drug use, after all, is an attempt to, I already read that. Remove all access to conventional drugs and blah, blah, blah. The study does not find a causal effect leading from non-cannabis vaping to cannabis use, other than some vaping devices can be used for both. The actual device itself, yes, because it has a 510, but the actual atomizer, no. No population effect. The researchers admit, see, it should be without an S. The researchers admits that no. So it's either the researcher and admits gets an S, or the researchers and admits doesn't get an S. Bad grammar. The researchers admit that the apparent association does not show up in population studies, would find no increase in cannabis use despite a significant increase in vaping, because the size of the studied population, cannabis native adolescents who have tried e-cigarettes, is very small. Ultimately, the study lists several limitations, including poor quality and even contradictory data, and concludes that despite the association the researchers found, e-cigarette use seems to have had a minimal association with the overall prevalence of youth cannabis use. The problem with studies such as these is that only the Yahoo News headline will stick in the minds of the general public and policymakers. We've said that 1,000 times. People only read the fucking headlines. They don't read the body. And they definitely, if it's a news article about a study, they don't actually click on the link to the study. Only assholes like me and Bruni do that. It will serve as fuel to those who, contrary to the scientific evidence, refuse to consider vaping as an effective means of reducing harm associated with smoking tobacco. As I've argued at length before, public health authorities ought to be promoting vaping both as a far safer alternative to smoking and as a smoking cessation tool. Instead, contrary to scientific findings, vaping is regulated as if it were equivalent to tobacco, both by South African legislators and the World Health Organization. Besides, in most jurisdictions, selling e-cigarettes to under 18s is already prohibited, which is good policy since the nicotine itself can be harmful to a developing brain of a rat or mouse, as can a very similar stimulant, caffeine, for that matter. But we don't ban kids from having caffeine, do we?
Nope.
Is Starbucks going to start suddenly carding kids that are getting their double espressos?
Oh dear, no, no way. Too much hassle.
Yeah, they're saying that caffeine can, if caffeine can be harmful to developing brain, then obviously we should be preventing kids from having sodas. We should prevent kids from having chocolate. Because chocolate has
Caffeine's probably more harmful than nicotine. I mean, to be honest.
Well, Chris Big Knowledge Garland is not here, so if I were to say something about chocolate, he normally shows up. It's like it's like Candyman. If you say his name 3 times, then he, but you have to be standing in the bathroom in front of a mirror, so we're all right. Richard Pruitt says, no, most parents limit their kids to 3 to 4 cans of Red Bull a day. I've never had one. I have never had a single Red Bull ever.
Oh, you got to try it. Try it with vodka.
Why would I want to mix anything with my vodka?
Oh well, I'm normally a straight spirit person too, but Red Bull and vodka, it keeps you partying all night.
I have a bottle of gin here that I'm really wanting to open because it is gin that is aged in bourbon barrels.
Ooh, nice.
And I don't want to put anything with it. I want to taste it by itself. No, obviously gin is one of those things that people normally mix with stuff, but I like the aromatics. I like gin, but I'm really thinking that gin aged in bourbon barrels is going to be special.
I'm trying to picture it. I'd like to try that.
It's not a clear spirit. It is an amber spirit. Once it's been aged in the bourbon barrels, it takes on the coloration of bourbon
and picks up the tannins. I can't say that word.
It's right. It's right there. It's on the top. It's over there by Batman.
Ooh, tempting when it's so in view.
I know, it's right there.
Oh.
So Janine says that she bought a bottle from our local distillery, a bottle of gin in bourbon barrels, or just gin in general. But since I have a new rule about drinking on the air, I can't do that right now. The last time I drank in a live stream was Phil's birthday, like 2 years ago. And every time I drank, I yelled at Phil until he drank.
That was a good birthday.
Oh, he was like the next. They actually pulled that stream. Like he didn't want anybody to see it and replay because he was James Jarvis's wife. He was like flirting with James Jarvis's wife while James was also there. Oh, it was funny. DJ LSB was there, and he was also like flirting with DJ LSB's girlfriend, like saying very stuff that he would never say if he hadn't been drinking.
Yes, inappropriate stuff.
I can still hear myself.
Funny. It was a good time. It was a good time.
How am I hearing myself?
Because I keep talking over the top of you?
No, I can still hear myself even when you're silent.
Oh.
But you have your headphones in, so I don't know how that's happening. I don't care. It's fine. All right, let's see. Academic fake news. The effect and persistence of fake news produced by academic research can be demonstrated by what happened when I raised the topic of this column in an editorial meeting. The first response was, but doesn't vaping cause popcorn lung? Popcorn lung is the common name of bronchiolitis obliterans, which has been observed in factory workers who received excessive exposure to diacetyl, a buttery flavorant used in microwave popcorn. It is safe to eat, but can cause severe lung damage if inhaled. But it's also in cigarettes.
And a lot higher in cigarettes than it is in the vaping when they were using diacetyl.
Yeah. So I don't get that, but I just changed one of your audio settings to see if I could get rid of the echo.
Did it work?
I think it did. This led to speculation among tobacco control researchers, the vast majority of whom are funded by anti-tobacco lobbyists and tobacco control authorities, that vape liquids that contain diacetyl could cause the same disease. It has never, ever, ever happened, by the way. Ever. It is also the reason why nobody puts diacetyl in vaping liquid. As a result, popcorn lung has never been documented in even a single user of non-cannabis e-cigarettes. Has it ever been documented in cannabis e-cigarettes? I don't think so. Here it is. It has been documented once once in a cannabis vapor, and there's a link to the document to it's been documented. Okay. A different lung disease, lipid pneumonia, has been documented, but that outbreak involved a single type of black market cannabis vapes that contained vitamin E acetate, an oil that does not occur in any non-cannabis vapes and no longer occurs in cannabis vapes either. Outside of those very specific cases, which are not associated with normal nicotine or non-nicotine vaping, e-cigarettes have very rarely, if ever, caused anyone any harm, except for that one guy that his mod blew up and it killed him. And his, it was on his nightstand and it shot him in the head and killed him. But that
people, when your mod gets that hot, it's hard to touch. Stop. Don't keep going. Don't keep going. That's where it's going to explode on you. Or yeah.
No, I'm reading Mallory's comment here. She said, well, I just had a doctor's appointment and the doctor increased her insulin and added a beta blocker to the 11 other pills that she takes daily. Wow. Yeah, beta blockers are weird. When I have a patient that's on a beta blocker and I put them on a treadmill or put them through any sort of aerobic activity, you have to teach them how to gauge the effect of the exercise differently, because the beta blocker actually prevents their heart rate from getting higher than a certain number. And they also do it for anxiety as well, according to Richard. But yeah, it prevents your heart from racing. So normal people get on a treadmill and you can monitor their heart rate based on, and you can measure their exertion based on their heart rate. But beta blockers prevent your heart from doing that. So then you do what they call it's a perceived exertion test. And yeah, it's really weird because you're exercising, your heart should be increasing, but it doesn't because you're on this medicine. That's uncool. I mean, it's uncool that you need it if you actually do need it. 11 pills or 12 pills a day is already pretty sucky.
Tell me about it.
Normally, for high blood pressure, they would just put you on a statin. I don't know why they would put you on a beta blocker for high blood pressure.
I'm on 4 different tablets for blood pressure.
Oh.
They couldn't get it down, so they kept on just adding different tablets.
So here, as a first generation, my mother's first generation, as a second generation Irish American, I have a bad temper. The only time my blood pressure increases is when I'm about ready to cause murder. So once I blow off the steam, my blood pressure goes back down, and it's so.
But that's the weird thing too. With the blood pressure going up, it does seem to affect the adrenal gland, so you do get more aggressive at the same time. So
Tom says he's taking 7.
7. Oh.
Yeah. So I don't take anything but nicotine and caffeine. Those are the only 2 medicines that I'm on.
Stay young, Patrick. Stay young.
I am 50 years old, dude. I'm older than most of the people in the chat room. I'm definitely
only 8 years older than you.
The lovely young Janine. I don't know how old Richard is, but I think I'm possibly older than Richard. I'm definitely older than Mallory. Yeah, I'm pretty old. I'm up there. I'm up there.
But hang on. Isn't vaping for kids? Isn't it all about the kids?
If you take an average age of the people that are represented in the chat room right now, I would say that the average age of the people listening to this show are probably in their mid-30s. And that's taking an average of the older people that are here and the younger people that are present.
I was going to push it up to 40.
I say we probably trend older than most of the other vaping shows, except for maybe Phil and Demi, because they're ancient. So I'm older than Richard. Janine is always 22 to me, and Steve says he's 64. So the average age probably could be, yeah, you might be right.
Up in the 40s.
in the 40s.
Yeah.
You might, because what, you're like 85, so.
No, that's it. Well, that's what my doctor said. Body of an 80-year-old.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I mean, when we take up vaping, it's because we've tried different ways of trying to quit, to the point where many of us gave up even trying to quit. Vaping come along, and we're able to quit fully, totally quit.
So,
and that's the thing. You've got to be ready. You've got to be ready to want to stop smoking, really, before the vaping really takes hold.
Bastard. So I drink coffee from a company called Death Wish Coffee, who claim in their advertisement that they are the highest level of caffeine available in any commercially available coffee. And he says, doesn't that affect your blood pressure? I checked my blood pressure today after I tested one of my patients to verify that my blood pressure machine was working properly. And my blood pressure was like 118/64. When I go to the doctor and he does all of my labs, he gets really angry because he can't write me any prescriptions, because as a fat white guy, he would assume that I had high cholesterol, that I probably had hypertension, that I'm probably pre-diabetic, and my labs are all well within the normal range.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know
if Eric Stiffington is trying to like take the mick out of everybody, but he says, in fact, less than 1 tablespoon of e-cigarette liquid in the market may be enough to kill an adult, and as little as a teaspoon could kill a child. That's absolutely not true. That is absolutely not true. Here's a bottle of commercially available nicotine. I could easily put this in my mouth and take a dosage of it. The human body, once it reaches a toxic level in my body, would immediately make it emetic and make me vomit it up. Now, if you're talking about undiluted nicotine used for mixing e-liquid at 100 milligrams per milliliter, that indeed might cause the body of a child to have problems. But the 2 cases of that has occurred in the United States and in Australia, there's 2 total cases, were actually undiluted nicotine that was at 100 milligrams per milliliter. And that is a tragedy. That was poor parenting for leaving these bottles of product available in a place where kids could get them. But that is not commercially available e-liquid.
And they didn't say that on the media. They didn't talk about that on media. They just said e-liquid.
So, yeah. Again, I don't know if Eric Stiffington is actually just trying to take the mick, or if he is trying to start a flame war in the chat room, but that is absolutely not true. There is no scientific basis for that, and anybody that claims that can easily be silenced with the truth, with science, and that's all we promote here is actual scientific talking about the subject matter. But anyway, back to the caffeine. Highest level of caffeine has been beaten by a product called Rocket Fuel, which has 240 milligrams per mug. That's, when you're making coffee, when you're making coffee, that's all based on user. I mean, if I put 5 scoops and my wife makes her coffee with 3 scoops, it's, there's no way to verify that. So I wouldn't.
A lot of people also don't realize that darker roast lowers the caffeine in the.
Yeah, but it does increase the flavor, my friend.
Oh, yes, it does. I'm a dark roast person. I like the dark roasts. But I'm also one that believes in blending.
Did just buy, they just released, Death Wish Coffee just released a new blend that is their espresso roast.
Ooh, okay.
So I bought 3 bags of it. So I will grind some and make some tomorrow.
Proper espresso or just a drip filter? Or?
It's just a espresso roast. I have to.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's all right. I add milk. I'm an Aussie. We like our milk and our coffee.
Yeah, I don't know who Dr.
Yeah.
Bruce Rubin is, but I can provide. I have over 300,000 pages of science on my computer on this specific topic. People that have PhDs like to make claims that are based on nothing but their opinion, and people will absorb that information based on the fact that that doctor has credentials. I have 12 years of college. I have worked in public health. I've done over 300 or 3,000, postmortem examinations. I know the human body inside and out. I'm not saying I'm the most intelligent or smartest person on human anatomy, but I do have advanced degrees in those fields, and as well as forensic anthropology. So yeah, I don't profess to know everything about anything, but on this particular subject, I have all the research that I need. If it was that horrible, if it was that deadly, it wouldn't be available anywhere. Yes, Death Wish Coffee does deliver. I don't know if they deliver to Australia, but they do deliver because that's how I get it. But it comes from New York. They're a New York coffee roaster. But anyway, their Odin Force Death Wish, no, Odin Force Valhalla Java blend is also good. Anyway.
Aussies should be looking, if you want a good coffee in Australia, look for Rosebank coffee from New South Wales.
So
very nice
if
coffee.
it was that toxic, if it was enough to kill a human being, a tablespoon, if I were to do this and put it on my finger and then do this, I would get some sort of negative impact even with that small amount. Yeah, it's not true. You can trust stuff that you read if you consider the source and you do some empirical research on your own. Don't take everything at face value. Don't take anything at face value. Do some independent research, and then look at
what you're saying.
Look at other
sorry,
sources.
what you're saying before.
What?
Well, sorry, I just wanted to stop you. Just what you're saying about the research and all that. You could. So many of those in the advocacy, 7 years plus now for research. So many of them have been, reading the facts, reading, the study reports. They've got the knowledge. This is the thing, but they're not accepted as having knowledge because it hasn't got the.
I've been using this product for, well, not this particular product because it wasn't available, but I've been vaping and researching vaping for 11 years. I've been here. I've actually, no, what year is this? 2022. So yeah, 11 years. So, cause I quit vaping in 2010 or quit smoking in 2010. 12 years, excuse me. And yes, I have volumes. Like I have all the data in the world. We have all the science in the world. You can see headlines every day about the youth vaping epidemic, for example. But then when you look at the National Tobacco Survey and you actually look at the numbers, it's down tremendously down. But the headlines don't reflect that. You actually have to go and look at the research and pull the numbers yourself and do the analysis, and you'll see. Yeah.
Way down, according to Graham Gardner.
Yeah.
The number of kids that are not vaping now. So it's just, kids will experiment. They'll try things, but that doesn't mean they're going to keep on doing it.
No.
Tried it.
But yes, but if you trust certain scientific bodies like the FDA, for example, and they've just now approved, not just now, in the last 2 months, they've approved a reduced very low nicotine cigarette, for example. Still has all the cancer the same amount of carcinogens, the same amount of TARs as a regular nicotine cigarette, but doesn't have any of the respiratory irritants. It doesn't have the chest hit that a regular cigarette has. people are going to smoke more because they feel like it's safer, but they're still going to get as much, if not more, of the carcinogens, the tars, all of the formaldehyde, all of that horrible stuff that's in a combustible cigarette.
That's what makes me so angry. That's why it makes me so bloody angry.
And when this was announced 5 years ago, we said then people are going to just smoke more. And they ignored us. They ignored us. We had Dr. Marwa Glover on the show specifically talking about people substituting when they were given free cigarettes of the very low nicotine type. When nobody was looking, they just went to the store and bought regular cigarettes because they had used up all the free ones that were given to them. So the data is not valid because people are just making substitutions. But
they're trying to make it out it's going to be a great thing for everybody. It's just...
Richard Pruin in the chat room, he got some of the VLNs, smoked them, and he was like, oh, these are so smooth. They're so gentle that nobody is going to realize how dangerous they are.
Not like the silk cuts, Richard. The silk cut that had little fine cuts all around the filter.
Silk cut, those were good cigarettes, man.
I like the punch. I like the punch in the throat. I used to be a White Ox man.
That's why I vape at 12 milligram nicotine, because I still want a little bit of that. If I go to a lower level of nicotine, I don't feel it. I don't feel satisfied, and I just vape more. But I vape less when I'm vaping 12 milligram because I get what I want. I get what I need. All of it's there. The body will find the level that it wants, and that's what will make you satisfied. So anyway, let's read this bias research. Let's read the paragraph on bias research, which we've done quite a few times on the show. But anyway, yet the bias research continues. This study, for example, which claimed to review the toxic effects of vaping in adolescents and young adults, conflates vaping, cannabis, and nicotine, even though only cannabis vapes, the only one illicit kind for that matter, have ever caused toxic effects. So yes, E-Valley happened because people in places that did not have legal cannabis vaping or cannabis use at all were buying illicit THC vaping cartridges from like disreputable people that had a product called Honeycut in it, which is made from anyone? Vitamin E acetate, or it contained, not made from, but contained vitamin E acetate. Now that is an oil, vitamin E oil. You do not inhale oils because you're going to get lipid pneumonia. You're going to develop scarring in your lungs. It's not good for you. We predicted this a full month before the first fatality. And I shouldn't say we actually read the article predicting that this was going to happen that was produced in Leafy magazine, which is a cannabis magazine. They predicted it was going to happen. We just shared it with people. We have proof that the article was published a month in advance of the first fatality. We have proof that it was circulated in public health emails. The Surgeon General was included in that email chain. He was aware of it. It was ignored. When we confronted the Surgeon General, when I confronted the Surgeon General on Twitter about it, he actually responded, and we embarrassed him publicly about it because was this past Surgeon General, Jerome Adams. The current Surgeon General is an idiot as well, but that's completely different. I mean, he was the Surgeon General before Jerome Adams, and now he's the Surgeon General again. But anyway, Vivek Murthy, we've pulled his pants down in public as well. Greg did, Greg Connolly, not me, but I publicly embarrassed the past Surgeon General, Jerome Adams, by simply asking, why are you not substance testing these kids? that are self-reporting, no, I didn't do anything illegal.
There was a doctor that was a part of that was actually on the ward when all this was happening, and he said that the kids are lying. He knew. So he must have been telling them.
So Eric, again, doesn't understand neurochemistry and brain anatomy. So he says that everyone could vape 1 milligram if they had, and that the body would adjust. That is absolutely incorrect. Every human being has neurotransmitters that receive certain chemicals that are designed specifically to accept certain chemicals. Everybody has a different amount of each of these in their body. Certain people have brain chemistry that has more receptors, and some people have less receptors. It's like THC, for example. THC doesn't do shit for me. I don't get high. I get bored because I don't have the same number of THC receptors in my brain that Bruni might have. And Bruni might get high on taking one toke off of a joint, and I could smoke 20 bowls and not get high at all. Whereas I may have more caffeine receptors in my brain, which means that I can take more caffeine than other people and have a different effect. He might drink a cup of my coffee and have heart palpitations because he doesn't have the same number of receptors that I have. And same thing with nicotine. Some people are designed specifically, they have more nicotine receptors in their brains, which means that their brain has a higher tolerance for it and also a higher amount of yearning or, wanting of it as well. Stop vaping for a week and see what happens. Do you think I haven't done that already? I've been doing this for 11 years. Don't you think I've stopped vaping in 11 years? I go days and days without vaping, and then when I need it, I take it. That's how it works.
I can't stop. I've tried stopping for a day, and no, my body I just get so agitated, irritated.
Yeah,
it really does help calm those nerves down.
And we already know that nicotine is a neurostimulant. It is also a mental focus accelerator. It's a neuroprotectant. It is a way for people that have depression to remove some of their antidepressant medicines. We have done entire shows with neuroscientists as well as people that suffer from neurodiversity issues. I invite you to go through our show catalog and watch those shows. And you might actually learn something. I assume that you're willing to absorb content, but because you're in the chat room, if you're willing to do that, go look at the shows. We've had actual scientists on this show talking about these topics. We've hosted drug policy experts from Canada. We had Dr. I can't say her name. Mark. I'll remember it. But anyway, he did a fucking TED talk. If he's smart enough to be invited to do a TED talk, he's a pretty smart fellow. We've had scientists from New Zealand. We've had scientists from all over the world on this show. It's
Israel.
Dr. Mark Tyndall. Thank you, Janine. Dr. Mark Tyndall was on the show talking about harm reduction, talking about drug policy, and talking about addiction. He was a good show.
Turned it into a classroom. We had that time. It was actually turned into a classroom. She did such a great job of teaching us about nicotine and the different elements.
When Eliana was on the show, she actually pulled a fucking nicotine molecule apart to show you how your body metabolizes nicotine. So
that was a good show. That was a great show.
Yeah. So I would invite you to actually talk to look at some of the information that we've provided. This is like you're here talking to people that have been living this for a long time. Yes, there are some people that have fewer nicotine receptors in their brain that can go cold turkey and never need it. And then there are others that can't. And what you're saying in the chat room right now is a perfect example of that. That is absolutely, it is, yes, it is easy for some people because of their particular mental neuro breakdown of what they have and what they don't have in their brain. But yes, everybody is not equal, Eric. Sorry. Yeah. You
We
can
all have
continue to
different
say
skills.
stuff in the chat room if you want, but yeah, that, I mean, that comment alone lets me know that you probably don't have the right information at hand. But anyway, let's finish this article. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. The research about potential harm caused by e-cigarettes is reminiscent of the very early sensation mill headlines linking things to cancer. Sure, there are associations between half of everything we do or eat or use and cancer, including very many otherwise healthy things. That doesn't mean we ought to live in a perpetual fear of a cup of coffee or a pint after work or water bottles or bacon. That something is not entirely risk-free does not make it dangerous and does not make it preferable to riskier alternatives. Public Health England has long held an admirable position on vaping, namely that it is at least 95% less harmful than smoking and ought to be encouraged in the campaign against tobacco, since the evidence is getting stronger that vaping is a popular and very effective smoking cessation aid. It has proposed making e-cigarettes available on the national health system, and it is concerned that too few teenagers and adults are aware that vaping is less harmful than smoking, when it is in fact much safer. This public misinformation is entirely due to fear-mongering headlines supported by questionable research on the part of researchers in tobacco control camp. It is
80%
high time.
doctors.
Yeah.
80% of doctors have got the wrong information after doing a test.
No. So 80% of doctors now in the world believe that nicotine causes cancer. They believe that, but I know for a fact in medical school they were not taught that.
Information.
So when they were in school, they were taught, in fact, that nicotine is a stimulant, but it is the combustion, the act of combustion, and all of the other constituents that occur in smoking that cause cancer. Nicotine itself is not a carcinogen. But 80% of doctors in the United States and most recent studies and surveys show that pretty much 80% of doctors worldwide have bought into the propaganda that nicotine is indeed a carcinogen. And it is not. If you open the PDR and you scroll or you flip over to nicotine, it will say that it is not a carcinogen. So yeah, it's ridiculous. But these are PhDs. These are medical doctors. These are MDs. These are people that have respectable credentials behind their name that are in fact either misinformed or brainwashed by media and tobacco control and public health, for-profit, non-profit public health groups. I mean, if you look at Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, if you look at The Truth, if you look at they are invested heavily in making a profit. So that's why when smoking rates are at historic lows, they switched their mission statement from a smoke-free future to a nicotine-free future, because once they've realized they've destroyed tobacco smoking, and that's with the help of vaping. I mean, we can show you a chart. I have a chart somewhere on my computer that shows a direct correlation on the increase in vaping and the decline. It's almost a one-to-one comparison with the introducing of vaping in 2008.
7, I think he started.
Yeah.
07.
To the actual decline in smoking over the last 2 decades or so. So yeah.
And I think wasn't there recently something about the actual rate of cancer, lung cancer went down as well? I think it was England again.
And I asked this question a few weeks ago. So there, what I think is funny is, there are people that get lung cancer, they get heart disease, that have never smoked a cigarette, have never hung out for long periods of time around people that smoked a cigarette, that live healthy lives, and somehow still get lung cancer. And I asked, and I still haven't got a satisfactory answer in America. I know that Richard Pruin says that those numbers are tracked very well in the UK, but I still don't know. Are they adding those people to the 480,000? Because that's how many people die every year that gets blamed on smoking-related illness, right? So I would like to
what
know,
are they going to?
how are
When
they,
everyone stops smoking,
yeah.
when everyone stops smoking, what are they going to blame lung cancer on?
Well, asbestos or something else.
Yeah, so
But
they'll have to find
asbestos is not even widely used anyway. So earlier, somebody in the chat room, and I can't remember if it's David Lloyd or somebody, asked if all of the articles were negative. So that last one was not negative, right? That last one was clearly quite positive about vaping. But I have another one, and this one is from a source that you would not believe. Let me pre-rub it so that it's already bigger on screen and easier to read. So this is actually from Bloomberg. This is actually from Bloomberg. So it says, free e-cigarette vouchers help 2 in 5 smokers to quit in a pilot study. So this is obviously this is a press release, or not a press release. This is from a press agency, the Press Association. It says, and this is from PA, from Pennsylvania. So this is probably an experiment or a study published by Penn State University. I could be wrong, but we'll read. And it says, more than 2 out of every 5 smokers who redeemed a voucher for a free e-cigarette starter kit had stopped smoking within a month as part of a pilot scheme designed to help people quit. This is, oh no, this is actually the UK. So I don't know why it says PA there. But smokers in Norfolk who had failed in past attempts to quit were referred to a specialist stop smoking service and offered a £25 voucher, which could be exchanged for a vaping starter pack as part of the trial. I'm going to scroll past the advertisement. The scheme, initially targeted in Great Yarmouth, saw patients referred in by either their GP, self-referral, or via another health service. People were given advice and support and were required to cover the ongoing cost of using e-cigarettes themselves. So they were just given a £25 starter kit, and then from that point on, they were, it was on their own. So in total, 668 participants were referred to the scheme between December of 19 and July of 21, and 340 of them redeemed a voucher for a vape starter kit. Of the 340 who redeemed the voucher, 143 participants, that's 42%, had quit smoking by 4 weeks. The mean age by referral was 41.4 years old. The scheme, funded by the Norfolk County Council, had been rolled out across the country, and the research team hopes that it could be rolled out nationally to help more smokers quit. Lead researcher Caitlin Notley from the University of St. Anglia, Norwich Medical School, said research shows that vaping is an effective way of quit smoking compared to nicotine replacement therapies, the patches and gums, which we know at most are only about 7% effective. And that is through comparing about 20 different studies and surveys over the last 10 years. That number is pretty solid. E-cigarettes or vapes are now the most popular way of stopping smoking, obviously in the UK. Our research has previously shown that they may be particularly helpful in people to not only quit, but to stay quit for good. So we know for a fact that we've talked to many people on the show over the years. I mean, I've been doing this show for, well, this particular show for like 7 years, and then the show before that for like 3 years. So about 10 years that we've talked to people. There are plenty of people who say, oh, I'm going to use this because I'm going in a car with a bunch of people and I don't want to smoke in the car, or I'm going to a wedding and I don't want to smoke at the wedding, so I'm going to use this. And they accidentally quit. They're only going to, they originally intend to only do this temporarily and go back to smoking when they're done. but then they find satisfaction, so then they don't bother going back to cigarettes, which is perfectly awesome. We want to see other GPs giving out vape shop vouchers alongside support from the Stop Smoking service that can help people quit. We particularly wanted to target vulnerable and disadvantaged smokers who had failed to quit smoking by other means. Because, believe it or not, pharmaceutical NRT products are very expensive, and it's cheaper just to keep smoking. Believe it or not, even now, cigarettes are still cheaper in most places in the United States, not counting California and New York. It's still, $5 or $6 a pack of cigarettes here, but a pack of nicotine patches that only let you go for a few days, can't buy a month's supply. You only get like 5 or 6 patches or 10 patches or whatever in a box. It's like $44. So yeah. And then don't even get me started on the gum, because the gum is even more expensive. And the patches are unsuccessful because we have all the science in the world that shows that the higher concentration of nicotine patches are way more successful. But the most commonly available American Nicoderm patches are half the strength that they need to be more successful.
Well, you can't have it being successful when you don't get on going sale.
Well, no, because people will buy twice as many and just use 2 patches, which I don't think works, but some people say that does. But yeah, you just, so you're selling twice as many patches.
And people that use the patches and still smoke. There's some that find that it helps with their smoking.
Yeah.
So because,
anyway, what it says here, she continued, this scheme enabled 42% of entrenched smokers who redeemed a voucher to have successfully quit in 4 weeks. This is especially important because it helped those who have tried and failed to quit smoking many times to move away from tobacco. Overall, the product was well received by smokers as it offered an affordable route into vaping. GPs supported the scheme and appreciated being able to offer an alternative to entrenched smokers. So they need to repeat this. Obviously, the pool is too small. People are going to complain that it's only 340 people. So obviously they need to do this on a bigger scale and get a couple thousand people in there to really get the robust response that tobacco control assholes are going to require.
And also percentage of population.
Yeah.
So
you need a bigger pool is what they're going to say. But anyway, yeah.
But still, it's enough to show that it's worth doing a bigger study.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, as a pilot study, it's great, and that's what it even said is a pilot study. But I just thought it was funny. That Bloomberg actually published this.
And then he went and gone the other way.
So, yeah, I mean, Bloomberg has spent in the last 2 years over $1 billion in anti-vaping, anti-nicotine messaging all over the world, like buying off governments, paying off. I mean, he's been busted in the Philippines for actually paying for legislation. In Central America, in Mexico, he actually paid for an employee at the Mexican Department of Health. Like he was busted for that. It's like, hey, I'm going to employ somebody and put them in your office, and he's going to help guide your policy.
And then it all went away because the one in the Philippines, he was supposed to be looking at doing a court case.
I thought he was indicted. I thought he was going to be indicted for that, but that apparently didn't happen.
He must have offered the government some money.
Oh, there's a grant somewhere. There was a couple $1 million grant or something that was. But the new president in the Philippines is not as bad. I mean, I joke, because my wife is from the Philippines actually, Everybody knows that now.
Yeah.
But the new president of the Philippines is the son of Ferdinand Marcos, who, you know,
it's interesting.
much hated in this part of the world. But when I was in the Philippines, like, he's a national hero, even to it's like Trump. It's like, you know, in America, you know, 49.5% of the country still think that Trump is a hero, right?
America's in a scary place, 50-50.
I mean, we're literally split right in half. But in the Philippines, if you go to the Philippines, like, his body is on display like Lenin's in Russia. Like, they have him in a hermetically sealed glass coffin, and they take him out daily and like refurbish him and put him back in, and people go to his, you know, and pay homage. I've been there. I've seen his dead body. It's right there. You know, I'm just like, I thought he was like a tyrant guy, you know, like, you know. And they're like,
well, he did give some of the money back. He did give some of the money to the country, and he did sort of. There was businesses and everything that I think grew, wasn't there, in the Philippines during the 80s?
There's still $300 million missing. And I live in Corpus Christi, Texas, and there is a luxury condo building on the Gulf of Mexico here that the Marcos family still owns.
Nice income.
In Corpus Christi, Texas. Like, it is not a secret. Like, everybody knows that is owned by the Marcos family. So yeah, there's, you know, but again, even the successor family, like, they believe in political legacy there, like, you know, so like, children of elected officials get elected, like, it's just, you know, they have dynasties over there.
Different way of royalty. Yeah, dynasty.
So the Aquinos had their legacy, or their dynasty, I guess you would say, the, you know, Chris Aquino, and then like half of her kids are actors and actresses on TV, and the other half are politicians. So it's the Marcoses and the Aquinos. The only way they're going to ever get a non-corrupt government is to finally elect somebody that is not related to either one of those families, because both of them were corrupt as hell.
Never happened.
Even, you know, because Aquino was seen as the hero, but they were corrupt as hell. Yeah. All politicians, in my opinion, are corrupt as hell, but they actually were busted. So, yeah.
Over here, they seem to turn into multi-millionaires after they get elected.
And then the last guy they had, like, bragged about killing people. So, you know, like, he was on national TV talking about when he was the governor of Mindanao, that he would drive around at night on his motorcycle looking for drug dealers to kill, or drug addicts to kill. Like, he didn't care. Like, most people in most society now, you know, are aware that drug addicts are usually people that are mentally ill or have some sort of stressors in their life or whatever, and they're suffering. No. Like, he actually went on national TV when he was running saying, if I get elected, I'm saying now that it is your responsibility to keep your neighborhoods clean. And if you know somebody in your neighborhood that is doing drugs, I will protect you. If you go and kill them to keep your neighborhood safe, you can go and kill them and I will protect you.
And that's a sociopath.
Not the dealer, just the addict. Go kill the addicts is what he basically said.
Yeah, cut off the supply to the dealer.
There's always a pool of people that are, you know, we've talked about drug addiction on this show. Yeah, there's always more people. There's plenty of broken people out there that have depression, that have you know, bad lives that are, you know, and considering that the Philippines is one of the poorest countries in the world, yeah, it's, you know, there's I think the last census said that there was over 200,000 homeless children in Manila alone. So think about that. But hey, no more negativity, no more downers. We don't want to talk about homeless children anymore. That's sad. That's sad.
It is. Mexico too. So.
Oh no, they're used to have an office in Mexico City. I can tell you, there are places in Mexico. I mean, Mexico City is a very cosmopolitan, very beautiful city. It's got skyscrapers and 5-star hotels and all the things that you want. But yes, there's also some really sad parts. Really, really, really bad parts. But it is one of the most populous cities in the world. So yeah, lots of.
That's why lately there's supposed to be a lot of Americans that are moving there, getting out of the United States and moving to Mexico.
I have a condo in Mexico.
Nice.
I also have a condo in Manila, and my wife has a house in the country. So yeah, I've got my bolt hole ready. I've got my go bag ready to go. Yeah.
Anyway, we said no more negativity. So
yeah. Well, there's always hoping that somebody in the future will be a good leader for our country. We don't have one now. We didn't look like anybody's really ready to step up and do a good job either. So
takes a certain type of person to want to be leader. And the best leader is the one that doesn't want to be a leader.
Yeah. Shannon Gilbert just tagged me on. I don't ever go to Facebook. But yeah, Shannon Gilbert just tagged me on a YouTube video for a new Clutch song. She should be actually tagging Grim Green too, because he's a huge Clutch fan too. But anyway, thanks a lot, Bruni, for coming in and being Ed McMahon, since Kevin decided that his kid's abscess tooth was more important than our little internet show.
Yeah, she's got the pliers pulled.
He hasn't updated me. I was kind of concerned that that he hasn't at least let me know that he's made it home from the 24-hour emergency dentist, because it was 9 p.m. his time, or almost 9 p.m. his time, when he let me know that he was at the dentist office still. So that's a dedicated dentist right there that is willing to work at 9 p.m. But what do you want to say goodbye to? How do you want to say goodnight to everyone here?
All right, mate. Just hold up hope. Don't think that vaping is going to get taken from us, because it's too entrenched now. It'll grow back market. It'll be easy for people to find it. It's not going away. And just keep fighting those lies. Just keep pointing to the facts. Just keep using the science that's already out there. As Patrick said, there's a plethora of information. Just keep using that. Just keep showing them. Keep shutting down the lies. But hold hope, people.
I just think that, obviously, we've been talking about this on this show for a long time, that we have to engage with the general public, the people that don't use these products, to be willing to have an open mind about the science, show them the science, and say, this is, here's the science. It's like Dr. Paul Newhouse said. If anybody in the world could be considered an expert on nicotine, it would be a guy who's been studying nicotine for over 30 years at a university setting, doing experiments with cognitive assistance and protection of nicotine and understanding how nicotine works in the human brain. Paul Newhouse. And in the You Don't Know Nicotine film, like, he's there, he's like giving the information. He's like, I give people the information all the time, and they're like, well, we don't like that. And he's like, this is the facts. Here on the board behind me is the facts. The facts don't care about your feelings. So you have to, but we again have to get past all of the propaganda. We have to get past all of the misinformation and find people willing to absorb new information and understand that maybe they've been wrong for a long time. So, and we're willing to have anybody come and talk to us. We're not the type of people to silence dissension. We love to have a conversation, but we also want you to be open to ways of thinking that you're not used to. But we will be back next Friday. Hopefully Kevin will be here and his son's tooth will be safely still in his head. But one of the ways to get rid of an abscess tooth is just to yank that bitch and get past it. So love you. We will see you in 7 days. Thank you, Bruni, even though the echo is back. And we will send you off tonight with let's do the body cavity surge. Yeah, let's do the body cavity surge.
All right, mate. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
We are one nation under God, and knowing that inspires us. It inspires us to look within and find that fundamental respect and care that we should have for one another.
Bring your hands up for me. Okay, good.
Check the armpits. Take your time. Look carefully.
Okay, bring them down. Okay, let's spread your legs a little bit wider. Okay. Okay, lift your penis for me, please. Okay. Testicles.
If he's uncircumcised, ask him to pull back the foreskin.
Let's turn around.
Look at the neck, back, spinal area, and buttocks.
Okay, bend forward for me, please, and spread your buttocks.
Look for anything inserted. Observe any constricting of the rectal muscles, which may indicate the inmate is straining to retain something.
Okay.
You may see a thin string, indicating something is there. If you have any suspicion, ask the inmate to squat and cough deeply, which could dislodge it. If you're still suspicious, call for a medical search. You're not authorized to make any intrusion into the inmate's body orifices.
Who's going to protect our children?
DA Edward Burke cited Wisconsin law in a report stating what happened in Suring does not meet the definition of a strip search.
Having children stripped down to their bra and underwear is not okay in Wisconsin or any other state. My youngest, he said the other day walking into school, he was shaking.
Green Bay-based school law practitioner Tony Stefik says school officials are not required to notify parents of a search.
Some people would say, well, you're in the office. You need to call me before you question my child. That right doesn't exist.
We are not subjects or slaves of those who govern. And by God's grace, we are free. And we will fight to remain free.